Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4PlayerNetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4Player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. Welcome to 4Player Podcast. This is episode 672. My name is Nick Henderson. I'm joined tonight by Brad Simons.
Hello.
Nolan Hedstrom.
How's it going, everybody?
Christopher Davis.
Hello, hello.
And Krispy, who vanished as soon as I started the podcast. He's fucking muted. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Just go with it. Let's go.
He said he was gonna. He's like, I don't want to be on this episode anymore, and he just fucking booked it as soon as we hit record. Whatever. Chris will be back in a second. He is here tonight. Welcome back to the show, everybody. It's been 2 weeks since our last episode. Last week we actually opted to do a community, or not a community, a co-op stream together. We played Valheim together, which we are going to talk about tonight. In fact, I think we're probably going to open with that because we've all played that. So we'll get to that in a second. Before we go too far, though, I want to real quick plug the fact that all of our top 10 videos we're going to produce this year are out. They're available to check out. You can find out all of our personal choices for our 10 favorite games of the year. On top of that, our years in review page on 4playernetwork.com has been updated with our overall 2020 top 10 ranking. That is an aggregate score of all of our individual lists combined with the community's top 10 list. So check it out if you kind of wanted to see the consensus among our site, among our community, as to what our favorite games of the year were. Crispy's back, but his mic's still muted.
Hello.
Crispy? Hello. He returns.
I'm sorry. I had to see a man about a burrito.
For a second, I thought you were like defying Governor Abbott or something.
I will accept that excuse there. But anyways, we have a lot to talk about tonight. Like I said, it's been 2 weeks, so we're going to talk about Valheim. We're going to talk about Super Mario 3D World, Bowser's Fury. Brad's going to talk about Final Fantasy XIV because he played that, and other things. So why don't we get into it and just start with Valheim? Nolan, I know you've kind of been playing a lot more of that since we.
No, not at all. Like 10 minutes, maybe.
That's bullshit.
That is very much bullshit.
Streamed several times since then. You've been playing a lot with Jaeger, haven't you? Because he played with us last week.
Well, I mean, a little bit. We're kind of on opposite sides of the world, so we don't play that much together.
Oh, I guess I suppose that's
generally true. When I get off work and I have time to play, he's going to bed. So
that is true.
But we are playing in the same world.
This is an early access survival open world sandbox game. So we all played it last week, and I don't know where we want to start with it. It's one of those games for me for sure that I really enjoyed my time with it, and it definitely gave me the itch to play survival games again because I have several that I'm wanting to get to. But it's another one of those games where I'm like I'm probably gonna wait until it gets a 1.0 release, but there are people in our own community who have already played this game for like 80 hours or something.
Yeah, definitely.
Something crazy. So, Nolan, what do you think? What's
Sure. So yeah, and like you kind of, I don't know if you described it too well for anybody who is not familiar with it, but yeah, it's an open world.
Hey, buddy, this is the second time we brought it up on the podcast before. So
is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Is it?
This is news to me. I'm pretty sure
this
is the first time.
When's the last time we've done a regular podcast?
2 weeks ago, Brad.
Which was before Valheim.
Yeah.
I didn't talk about this then?
Well, no. Brad had played sessions by himself, but he hadn't talked about it on the show.
Oh, okay.
So anyway,
you may have talked about it in like Discord or something.
What are these worlds like? What are these games called? Like the
survival game,
very very much like a Rust or even like a Minecraft, but yeah, it's
or
just,
a Subnautica,
like a Subnautica, yeah. But it's very much just an open, randomly generated world where there's a little bit of story. I guess the twist with this one is it's Norse mythology, So you're fighting creatures like greylings and trolls and draugrs and skeletons and stuff like that. But yeah, so it's very much like any of those games. So I mean, you start, you have nothing, you're basically naked, you're cold, you're wet. You got to build shelter to keep yourself warm.
It's
this
got
game,
a lot of systems like that
yeah,
play on each other. It's like
has a lot of mechanics based around the character's like status. So like if you just build like a fire, oh, now you'll be warm, and if you build like a bed, you'll be a little more like you can sleep in that, and you can get comfort is one of the mechanics in this game. And the higher your comfort level is, you feel rested, which gives you like bonuses and stuff like that. So your stamina
meter?
Yeah.
I played this for like 4 hours last time when we were playing it. I
you
never
probably
slept
weren't
once
ever
during
comfortable.
That's probably true. What does the comfort actually do?
I think we were all kind of uncomfortable.
So the whole point of the comfort meter, Nick, is the higher it is, if you're in an area where you are comforted, like so say you go hang out in your house for a minute and do a few things, you'll get a rested bonus. The higher your comfort, the longer that bonus hangs out. So you'll get increased stamina recovery and faster health regen from food. So similar to some other games, like if you when you eat food, you don't just instantly gain health. In this game, the more and the different amounts of food you eat affect how high your health can potentially be. So if you eat a bunch of really good, like filling food, you'll have a high health meter, but it doesn't immediately go up. You have to wait a little bit. If you're more rested, that will fill up faster. It's just one of the mechanics. I mean, eventually later on, you do get the ability to start crafting potions, which give you advanced healing and stuff. And you can harvest honey from beehives and make mead. And mead gives you some almost it's like a potion. There are certain benefits to it. As you see if you're watching our footage, Jaeger and I have tamed
wolves.
Yeah, we've tamed some wolves, and we give them meat, and then we harvest them for their pelts. Because a wolf pelt is a lot more comforting than a deer like a rug. You can build like a rug in your house. It's comforting.
You have a literal pin like you would normally see like a pin like a pig.
Well, this one I don't kill because
wolves.
this one's Butters.
How do you look Kato and Butters in the eye every day?
I don't kill them. They're not wolves. First of all, they're dogs.
I don't know a ton of Norse mythology. I don't know a ton about Norse mythology, but one thing I do know is that comfort is really important.
Yeah. So anyway, this is one of the elements.
I'm looking at this footage and I'm like, Nolan has gone to the next level.
Okay.
Like if you compare like what you're watching on screen right now to when we were playing this together,
it was ridiculous.
It's comical. It's comical.
Damn it, Nolan!
Like,
what is your slash
build...
played? Tell me what your slash played is right now.
Yeah.
Someone else can look it up. I don't have Steam open. Someone else can tell me.
Is it the same world we were playing in?
No, this is not Krispy. That was based on Nick's computer. This is I ended up getting a server running for the game, so this is I was
gonna say, if this is my place, or if this is that world and my house isn't still standing there.
No, this is not.
I'm pissed off.
So anyway, Jaeger and I have played a lot in this world. We've kind of explored our area. We fought a bunch of trolls. We've, kind of worked our way. So technology in chat says I played it for 33
hours on Nolan's profile.
I feel like this is the story of everybody who's playing this game is they want to have build really nice things.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at Nolan's like fire and all this cooking station. It didn't need to be like that, but it is. The people who love this game are doing this shit.
Dude,
Nolan has like an entire.
Why wouldn't
attic.
you?
Nolan's attic is
this whole game is about like crafting and building a house and like why wouldn't you put a lot of care and attention to detail in it?
Well, some people just minimum functionality.
I know.
Trust me.
I would fucking miserable way to live.
All right, so let's talk about that. So when you first start this game, you have nothing. You can use wood and stone to craft like a stone axe and like a stone pickaxe and blah blah blah. And the further you go, you start eventually Jaeger and I found copper ore. We were able to mine some copper, and then you can smelt that. into copper ingots, and then you can also find tin. And then once you've smelted copper and tin, you can make bronze. And so then we are in the Bronze Age, so you can make bronze stuff. But it's one of those things where each next level takes more material. So it's like, a piece of wood and a piece of stone, you got an axe. But it's a lot more than that when you want to make a bronze axe. It is not just like, 2 pieces. It's like, it's at least 10 bronze, and it's 2 copper and 1 tin to make a bronze. So you actually need 30 items to make a single, and so every level gets more and more difficult. So you all say that, oh, my house looks nice. Dude, honestly, if y'all would have watched the footage, if I recorded footage right before I kind of changed my house to this, it was a fucking clusterfuck. I had random shit in random boxes. Anytime I tried to go and find something, I'm like, wait, was it in this one or this one or this one? And it took me 20 minutes. Honestly, this is just making it so whenever I walk into my house, I don't spend 20 minutes trying to remember where shit is.
I just love that you walk upstairs in your house and you have like a pantry with all of your materials that are these cleanly labeled wood plaques that say wheat or wood or whatever on it.
Yeah.
It's like beautiful.
Dude, you're
Hold on, I'm in Jaeger's house now. Y'all say my house looks nice. Look at fucking Jaeger's house. I was coming in here.
Do y'all do it?
But okay, Nolan, you say that, but at a certain point, this level is almost required in a lot of these survival crafting.
That's kind of what I was getting to.
It's you're gonna fucking drown if you don't organize and lay everything out.
Sure.
So yeah, exactly.
I'm not talking about the organization. I'm talking about these aren't functional places. These are really nice places.
Well, so once again, so there's a couple of things.
What does the bear rug do?
It gives you more comfort. It is not nothing. Okay. You need it because it increases your comfort level. And at first, when I just had a fire and a bed and a deer rug, my comfort was a level 3. I got 6 minutes of the restful status, which meant when I went out exploring for 6 minutes, my stamina recovered faster and my health regened faster. But as soon as that 6 minutes was up, you almost feel like you're weaker. So now my comfort in my house is a level 6 or a 7, and so I get 12 minutes of comfort. But I actually just upgraded it again, and I think I'm up to 15 minutes. And so you actually do want to start adding new things. You want to add a table and a chair because those make you feel more comfortable, which means you're more rested once you go out exploring. Like Krispy was saying, yes, you actually do need to start making your house nice because the functionality kind of blends into the comfort, into the restfulness. So I want to, Brad, you're talking about, that fire thing. Well, originally, yes, I had a single fire with a single little thing over it where I could cook food. But the problem is I then had to wait and hang out.
Oh.
Yes. So A, you would walk into it and catch yourself on fire. But B, I could only cook 2 things at a time. So, I actually want to cook more than 2 things at a time. Otherwise, I'm just sitting in my house doing nothing. So I made 3 fires so I can cook 6 things at a time. After this footage, I unlocked a new ability, so I can actually have a hearth. So it's a giant, essentially stone fireplace now that is even bigger than that, and it adds more comfort than a regular fireplace, and the fire lasts longer. It's stuff like that. You're constantly getting these upgrades. What's up? A portal.
What the fuck is that?
So
no, what is the bantha? What is that?
Oh, that's so.
There's a bantha. You're cramped.
Me and Jaeger found the merchant in this world. There's only one merchant in every world. He kind of spawns on a random place, and we happened to get fairly lucky in that. As soon as we built, and there might later on in the footage. I went to the harbor early on in the footage, but we built a harbor and we built a ship, and we just decided to go sailing because we were looking for new areas. Because there's. When we started the game, all of us playing, we were in the meadows. But there are other areas. There's the Black Forest, which has more difficult creatures in it. Then you'll find a swamp, which is actually where I'm at right now in the footage, is the swamp, with even more difficult creatures that do poison damage, and there's leeches that suck your health and stuff like that. And so we knew that we wanted to find the next level of equipment, which was, I guess, iron. And we had heard that, honestly, the easiest way to find a swamp is just get in a boat and start sailing around the coast looking for a swamp. And that's what we did. And we just took off north, and eventually we found a swamp, and we fucking both got destroyed by blobs there because it got poisoned. But I had noticed that when you enter an area with a merchant, the merchant shows up on your map. And so we just happened to get lucky and found the merchant pretty quickly. And you can build teleports in this game. The downside to teleports, which they are very nice and handy, you actually can't teleport metals. So iron, tin, copper, whatever, you can't bring that through a teleporter, which sucks because A, it's fucking heavy, and B, that's some of the most valuable stuff. And so even though we have like a teleporter now, like right outside that teleporter, we have a chest that has like at least like close to 200 iron in it that we can't bring back home. We have to sail it back, and it's not exactly a 2-minute trip.
Do you and Jaeger are y'all camping in the same area? Like, is your house and his house close by, or do y'all have? Okay.
We built a little town, and that's important because early on nothing really bad happens, but eventually, what's a good? I'm trying to think of a good equivalent. Like shit goes down. Like random events happen. Like, oh, you're being attacked now. A bunch of creatures showed up out of nowhere and start attacking your base, and so we had to. If you saw in the footage, we actually ended up building. Just like these giant stake walls around our entire encampment because enemies will spawn outside, and when they try and come in, they can't. So it's easy for us to just leave our encampment and kill them while they're just attacking the wall.
It's like an infected attack in State of Decay?
Yeah, that's a good example. It's a random event that happens, and there's many of them. There's some that just, some simple little grayling show up. But it seems like the farther you advance in the game, like into new areas and into new like ages, like the Bronze Age and the Iron Age, like those things start getting more intense. I wasn't online when it happened, but Jaeger, I can't remember what happened. It was like giants or something like that, and 2 trolls appeared right outside our base and just started fucking up our shit. Like trolls, like they are not a joke. If we had not had those walls up and they had gotten to our house, like they can literally like knock down a tree in like a punch, or like the swing of like if they'll carry giant like tree trunks as weapons.
Dude, it's so funny.
I want to say this looks great, and we started out, we played together, it was a fun time, and you got this world on a server, but I feel like we can't join your game now. It's like you're like old money now. We'd be a bunch of fucking hillbillies with rocks and stones, and you're like, oh, don't mind the trolls over there, and you unleash a machine gun on them or something. It's like we can't have even a remotely similar experience now.
So yes and no. So the one thing I will say in that regard is it's not like you would be with stone and stuff. Like you can have my old weapon. I know you're like, old weapon. It's not like I can just create. Like I have a single iron pickaxe. That is the only iron thing I have. I do not have anywhere near enough iron to have even another iron item. It's one of those things where the growth in this game is to an extent exponential. Because when you start, you have nothing, and it is hard to like build a house because you're like, oh, a house, I'll just grab some wood. Well, it's not like 30 pieces of wood. It's like 300, 400, 500 pieces of wood to actually build a substantial, like, even like my house. My house is probably close to like 600 pieces of wood. And it's one of those things.
From the start, you don't really have anything that can chop it down.
Exactly. So the problem is you start with very simple rudimentary tools, and those break pretty quickly, and you can repair them, but you have to go back to your station and stuff like that. And so the farther you get, you start getting items that will last longer. So in theory, if you were to join my game, like tomorrow, say you jumped on, well, I still have like a bronze axe or whatever, a bronze pickaxe I'm no longer using. So in theory, I'd be like, you can have it.
I know, but what I'm saying is part of the experience of that game is kind of discovering all this stuff and like building yourself up from nothing. If you just hand me
So what I would say to that extent, Brad, is you could join our server. You could go 30 miles towards the east, and honestly, if we could play for hundreds of hours and never see each other. This world is huge.
Yes,
in theory,
that's
you
one
could
of my
just
questions, if you don't mind.
What's up, Chris Davis? Yeah.
So is this like an infinitely generated world like Minecraft, or are we looking at something like Rust, where it's a big island?
Well, Minecraft is not infinitely generated either. There is definitely bounding boxes in Minecraft. It's just very big. It is similar to both of those in that there is a seed, and it generates a world based on that seed. Random string of integers.
I think that's one of the cool things about this, though, is that, say I wanted to jump in and get serious about it, and so did Brad, but we obviously had different schedules or whatnot, but you have the server set up, and assuming it's on and running, where we can just jump in, and start kind of carving our own space into this world where we coexist. We may not see each other, like we may not even interact with each other until a point later in the game where we're all kind of maybe not on equal footing, but we're all, we're not cavemen and while Nolan's like running around in a mansion.
We have nice caves.
Right.
So
I'm watching this footage and I'm thinking about, guys, we spent 4 hours playing this and we couldn't figure out how to build a roof.
Like I said,
I did a little more than that, but
I said, it is definitely exponential.
Your optimism is inspiring. I'll just say that.
There are systems you have to learn and kind of figure out. You have to understand and start learning that, and we kind of discovered it a little bit when we played, that you have to build a roof over your house. Well, I kind of want a fire in my house, but now literally it is building smoke in my house, and I am suffocating from the smoke. So you have to find like exit holes for it. And so when I first built the house, y'all saw before it was 2 stories, it was just a single story. And I had, just literally just like, 45-degree angle roof going across the top, and I just didn't board up the sides, so the smoke left the sides. But then eventually I put in a second fire, and that became a problem. It was generating too much smoke, and the holes were not big enough for the smoke to escape, so smoke was building up in the house. So I ended up building what y'all could kind of see in this footage was literally a chimney. I put a section off to the side, I put the fire there, and I literally just built a very long pipe going up, and at the top of that, once again, you can't have it just open because when it rains, it'll put out your fire. So you have to cover it, but enough covering / opening that the smoke can still escape. Like you were saying earlier, Nick, there are shit tons of mechanics in this game. There are shit tons of, like, physics is a huge deal. When you chop down a tree, it doesn't just instantly turn into wood pieces. It falls over, and it can hit other trees, and it can hit you and damage you.
It can crush you.
Yeah, definitely.
Which I did several times.
What I ended up doing is every once in a while when you chop down a tree, there's a random chance you'll get like some sort of seedling for that tree, like a pine cone if you chop down a pine tree, or like a birch seed or something like that. And so I ended up creating this little like forest area to ensure that I have, more wood, because obviously if you just start chopping down trees around your house, eventually the farther out you're just going to have less and less trees. And so I literally just planted a section of trees, but I planted them in a way that I chopped down going around kind of in a circle, and they kind of start falling in towards the middle and damaging each other as they're falling. And then eventually hurting each other. So I don't even have to chop as much because I'm having the trees hurt each other. I don't know. There's all these little like physicsy mechanics and stuff. If you're watching the footage right now, you can see I'm in the swamp. And right now, I'm not going to lie to you, I was fearing for my fucking life because I forgot to bring any potions for like poison resistance or anything. And I'm scared of these fucking leeches because, they're, like I said, mechanics are a huge thing in this game. So you can get poisoned, you can have like a bleeding effect and stuff like that. You can see on the top, like I am rested right now, but I'm also wet, and that like affects your abilities. Like you can't sleep when you're wet. You have to wait for yourself to dry off. Dude, the fun thing about this game is while there isn't as big of a story, there is just so many little adventures and unique things that can happen. From just like fighting random mobs. I was fighting a troll and a bunch of like I went out exploring. I was trying to find some nice wood because there's a stuff called fine wood, and you need it for like some more fancier things. And I found like a couple graylings. Like these little like fucking, they're nothing. They're like whatever. But when there's a bunch of them, it becomes a big deal because they can overwhelm you. And then a grayling shaman showed up, and they cast like spells at you. They'll heal the graylings. They'll cast poison on you. Kind of fucking annoying. So I'm like, I was playing with Jaeger, and he was like, "Hey, do you need help?" And I'm like, "Nah, I'm good." And then a Grey Dwarf Brute, which is like a giant version of those guys with clubs, showed up, and I'm like, okay. And then I go around a tree, and a fucking second Brute shows up, and I'm like, fuck, like I'm kind of getting overwhelmed, Jaeger. And then out of nowhere, a fucking troll shows up, a giant fucking troll, and now I'm just fighting like fucking 20 dudes, and like there's all this havoc going on, and it's just these like unique scenarios that can happen. And then, like, later on I was playing, encountered another troll, and I'm like, trolls can overwhelm me pretty quick. Out of nowhere, a fucking dragon swoops down and kills the fucking troll.
There's dragons in this game?
Okay.
Yes. It flew off. I don't know how difficult they are to kill. I've never encountered one since. But, like, I don't think it was technically a dragon. I think it was like a drake. So, it's not, like, 40 feet long. But it was
it's
pretty
not like
fucking
a Skyrim
big.
dragon.
Yeah, no, and it like one hit
big
kill
enough to
troll.
cause concern.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
yeah,
I have a question, and I think this might be a good point to end on Valheim. What does the roadmap for this game look like? Because this sounds awesome. It looks awesome. I enjoyed the time we spent playing it last week, but. And, I see all these people, you've already played almost 40 hours in it, and I've seen, and, we had, I forgot who it was that joined from the community who joined was it Zerby who joined our game last time?
Vunik.
He shows up.
Vunik.
Oh, it was Vunik. He showed up.
And he had that giant ship. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a fucking giant ship, and he was covered in, crazy armor. He looked like a fucking magician. It was wild. And I'm just thinking to myself, there's people out there who have obviously already poured, hours and hours and hours and hours into this game.
Oh,
but I'm thinking, are they doing this because it's finished enough? Or is this the kind of thing where this is coming out this year, might as well wait?
There's plenty of stuff for you to do. I am assuming that there's plenty more that the devs intend on adding. There are several, we fought one boss when we played the other night. Jaeger and I have since fought the second boss, which is way more fucking difficult. And that's one of the things with this game is it's pretty tough to play on your own. Me and Jaeger, fucking, I think close to 200 arrows. It's this giant, almost like an int, this giant tree fucking boss. And it's one of those things where we try to stay away from him. So we spent fucking 200 arrows trying to kill him. But anyway, like I said, things get difficult. There are more bosses we have yet to encounter. There are
it's just
dozens and dozens of
upgrades.
It's
pretty much, he says it's pretty much a finished product.
It is finished
enough.
Product.
Why is it called? Why is it early access though?
No,
why is it not a 1.0
actually,
release?
I mean, it's just
it is
when
playable.
they say that they mean there's a lot.
Correct.
A lot of survival
lot,
games when they come out in early access are not even close to this.
If you think of this compared to when Minecraft first came out, this is leaps and bounds beyond what Minecraft was when it came out. When Minecraft first came out, there was barely anything in the world. There was a few blocks, a few enemies, whatever. Now, if you look at Minecraft, it is 100 times different. This, I don't think when this is finished, it's going to be so much different than what you're playing now. I think it is more so they're probably
it is extraordinarily successful, so it might have a path similar to some of the more successful.
I just think about our personally our experiences here with Subnautica, where several of us played that game when it was in early access, and then put it down, and then waited for it to come out, and then we're like, I'm so glad I waited.
In earlier access than this is. This is not a game that's been in development for 6 months. They've been working on it for a while, and I feel like there's nothing wrong with waiting a little bit for it to get a little farther.
But I also want to get in on the ground level when people are playing it and people are loving it, and
I think especially with this type of game, because unlike a Subnautica or whatever, I think that first experience is so important. And if Nolan plays this for a year or two before it, and then it comes out of early access, it's going to be even crazier than it is now after 40 hours of. I mean, it's just a different experience.
Is there an in-game scenario to the game, or is it just? I mean, you keep playing it infinitely.
I would say once you defeat all of the bosses, you could probably call it in-game, but it's also one of those things where, in theory, you could also play it infinitely. You can keep making, you could turn my little hut into a fucking castle. I just recently unlocked the ability to make stone, blocks. So not just a piece of stone, but I can actually make a actual stone. So in theory, I could build a fucking castle if I wanted to.
But it's not a scenario where you beat a final boss and roll credits, right?
I mean, there might be credits after that boss, but I think it's one of those things where, what is done in a game like this?
This is a genre where I feel like in-game scenarios are kind of, traditional in-game scenarios are kind of rare.
Yeah.
Subnautica, which is one of the reasons why I love Subnautica, is that you are working towards a very specific goal, and you can accomplish that goal and be done, which is, I adore. But this is also easy to see why this is infinitely, not infinitely, but way larger than a game like Subnautica, and there's a lot more maybe to it than something like that. So I could see this going on for, hundreds of hours before, before deciding it's time to move on, I guess. But I don't know. This looks. Maybe I won't wait too much longer. It's still on my computer. I would like. So what? How does that work? If I want to play on your server, obviously
I posted it in our Discord channel. No, the server runs.
Server, so it's always.
The server's running 24/7. So I mean, at any point in time, if you have the details, you can join in and play on it. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
do we have a Valheim channel set up in Discord? I feel like maybe
we probably should, but we don't currently. What's up, Chris Davis?
I don't know if we have enough people playing it.
Is
it's just Nolan and...
Is the dedicated server you put up, is it your media server or is it like your computer?
It's my media server.
Okay. So theoretically, you could just turn off the night and people across the world could play it if they wanted.
I mean, my media server is on 24/7. So
okay.
Yeah.
Good.
24/7 is 24/7.
Yeah. So I mean, yes, in theory, and like I said, like Jaeger plays it. I mean, he plays it while I'm asleep.
Jaeger being a Brit. I mean, look, this is the perfect scenario to set up like a PvP server, right? Mm-hmm. Where, one of the exciting things about Rust is like, you could build some amazing thing, man, but if you or your crew goes to sleep, people can fuck it up. So, people are setting alarms to wake up at like 2 a.m, calling their friends and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yes and no. So we actually, eventually we found an object that you can create. It's called like a ward. It is not trivial to make it, but if you set it up, you can essentially protect anything that's in its radius. Oh. Like you can't destroy anything that is in its radius unless I give you permission to do it. Which is actually cool. It is kind of cool that you can set that up. So yes, if you were playing with, as of right now, the server size I think is limited to 10 people, and I think
that's not that many.
Yeah, I think the developers say they eventually want to make it more, but there's some issues with the network code. So the limit is currently 10. But in theory, yeah, you could have a PvP server, but like it say, like, you can't fuck with this shit right here. But anything else I create in the world, if I don't put a ward on it, yes, in theory, you could go and break it. But yeah,
cool.
All right, well, this is cool. I enjoyed it's funny. Like I really enjoyed my time with it, but seeing some of the shit you've managed to create since last week gives me that survival itch. I'm having flashbacks to like Subnautica and getting like hooked on building like this like the crazy underwater bases and like. By the way, I can't wait for
I wish that was
Below
cool.
Zero.
I wish that was cool.
Dude, I've heard not good things about Below Zero.
Damn it! You're stealing my sweat for the week.
Oh, is that okay?
Fuck.
Well, now you.
That's your sweat for the week, really? After the week you've had?
Hey, can we move into my thing next, Nick? And
I was gonna wait. I was gonna wait until maybe right before break, but whatever. Go for it.
But what is right before? Look. The reason this is a big moment for me because I feel like my entire life I've been avoiding MMOs for a specific reason. When I was a teenager, I got really into MUDs, which is essentially a text-based MMO, right? Yep. From the 90s, right?
Oh, we're aware. Chaos Blade.
I was really addicted to it. I put it on my top 10 games of all time. There's video footage of that MUD if you want to go see it. Someone asked the other day. They were like, does it look like this? I'm like, no, it's just words. Between that and Diablo 2, I got like really addicted to those games. And like the bad kind of addicted, honestly, right?
Oh, we remember.
And I played that MUD like off and on for like 10 years, right? So I kind of swore to myself that I never was going to play an MMO because I knew it was like really fucking dangerous. At least I thought it was dangerous, and I was probably smart about that, right? But the thing is, I've always wanted to play MMOs, right? Like World of Warcraft was always super exciting to me. I was over at David's watching his brother play the beta. and I was like, this is the greatest thing. Because, I was a Blizzard fan. I love Diablo, right? Diablo 2. I always wanted to play it. But, like, the one I always wanted to play, like, more than any was Final Fantasy XI because I loved Final Fantasy, right? Like when Final Fantasy XI comes out, this is, like, after, like, a string of the greatest games of all time from Square Enix. I'm the biggest Square Enix fan. I'm the biggest Final Fantasy fan. So it's like, that's the one I want to play. But I never played. I knew a lot of people who did. Some people who got really hooked. And
I wonder when there was one person I think we both knew that.
Yeah. In Final Fantasy XIV, like that's the one I've always wanted to play ever since like that came out. Specifically, like A Realm Reborn. But I swore I never played it. Like remember Diablo 3, right? Right, in the height of us going to E3, it was at the show floor before anybody had even seen it, and I refused to play it. And this is literally Diablo 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, and I refused to play it. It wasn't till like
He did.
Like many years after that game came out that I finally tried it. But that was the thing. You know, I got myself into a mindset. I convinced myself, like, I can do this. And I went in, whatever. I don't really like Diablo 3, but that's not the point. So the thing with Final Fantasy XIV is I've been afraid to try it. And it's kind of become a running narrative, especially in Discord, ever since like Jaeger got into it, especially, right? We kind of had this back and forth antagonistic of like, look, I'm not playing it, not because I think it's bad, but because I'm worried about getting addicted. And he just keeps linking to me all kinds of cool outfits. And
Brad,
shit, right?
in
that's
reality,
been going on for like 3 years now, 2 years.
I was going to say, in reality, that's the exact reason I don't play MMOs. Is because I will get addicted. I fucking played 33 hours of Valheim in the last week. What do you think would happen if I fucking played Final Fantasy XIV?
Exactly. No, exactly, right? And I love RPGs, and I was like, I just had to stay away, right? But, you know, I convinced myself, maybe our Discord community wore me down, but there's a Monster Hunter game coming out at the end of the month. And I'm like, well, I've been really anxious, right? I've been trying games, and I don't really want to get into games because, you know, there's this calm before the storm for Monster Hunter. You know how it gets when there's like a game you're like really anticipating coming out. So I just said, fuck it, right? Like, let's play this. Monster Hunter's coming out. If that doesn't get me to stop playing Final Fantasy XIV, then that's when we know there's a problem. That's when we need to stage an intervention. Yeah, but at the same time, I'm thinking there's no way Monster Hunter is not going to pull me away from this. So that's a good thing, right? It would pull me away from this. Well, so my experience... Your footage, or did Krispy record this? This is my footage. This is my footage.
Are you wearing a party hat? What?
Okay, we'll get to that. Yeah. It's a dunce cap, actually. So whatever. I started playing. I've played, I don't know. I'm level 30. I unlocked my first job class specialization, and my experience has not been good. Now, the running narrative about Final Fantasy XIV is that A Realm Reborn, which was sort of like this rebooted save from the original Final Fantasy XIV vanilla, which was like fucking awful, was still, in comparison to the expansions, like kind of a grind, not a good experience, right? People fell in love with this game, but they honestly mostly fell in love, I think, when the expansion started to come out and production values went up. The story started getting really good. I started hearing about it when Heavensward launched, right? And then when Shadowbringers came out like a couple years ago, everyone's like, this is the greatest fucking game ever, Final Fantasy ever, whatever, right? And the thing is, I believe those people. But, and I've been struggling in this game, and it's not just because I think that's normal for this game specifically, you know, because like I said, it's a grind getting to the expansions. I think I'm realizing I had a misunderstanding of what an MMO actually was, at least a modern MMO. And I'm realizing now that this is not the game I thought it was, and the game I feared, right, that I would get super addicted to, and that I kind of maybe don't even like MMOs, is what I'm realizing. At least not this one. So that's kind of where I'm at. Now some people are wondering, why am I playing it, right? You know, that's the thing. I've been wanting to play the Final Fantasy MMOs for the past 20 years, right? And, you know, because I'm a big Final Fantasy fan, and all I've heard for the past half decade or whatever is how good this one is specifically. Mm-hmm. You know, I love the fantasy setting. I love that the people who work on this now are idolize Yasumi Matsuno, right? And you know, our community is like really strong and with this game, and I really wanted to kind of get into it, right? But the elements that I get addicted to in a game, I feel like are not here, right? Like when I play an RPG, I'm obsessed with like loot. I'm obsessed with builds. I'm obsessed with what next skill I'm gonna get. Like interesting decisions, right? Do I level up this skill or that skill, or do I choose this class or this class, right? Or you know, I'll obsess over like pieces of equipment, maybe in ways that other people don't. Like when I play the Neo games, for example, people are like, don't even worry about equipment till like New Game Plus. And I'm like, no, I'm going to worry about my equipment every step of the way, because that's the thing I care about. What I'm realizing Final Fantasy is that Final Fantasy 14, like equipment doesn't really matter until like end game. At least this is what people tell me. And when I heard that, I'm like, well, fuck you. You just don't care about it. I'm going to care about it. And I've tried to care about it. And what I realize is that depth isn't, it's not really there. It really isn't there.
How do you mean the equipment? How do you mean the equipment doesn't matter? Like it's irrelevant to like stats, or you just use the same like items?
As you level up through like dozens, hundreds of hours, right? You're doing dungeons. You're getting like sort of like like when I first started, I would get a robe that had intelligence +1 and mind +1 or whatever, right? Where I'm at now at level 30, I'm getting robes that have it like intelligence +4 and like mind +4 or whatever. And they're like really, really basic stats, right? Like my defense is ticking up by 1. My attack damage is ticking up by 1. Like with every new piece of like level of equipment, everything just sort of ticks up by 1. And it kind of, there's no interesting decisions there, right? There's nothing for me to like want to chase after. I mean, there's stuff to chase after in this game in reality, but it's mounts and glamours and, this story. The crazy thing about what's happening here, and Krispy knew I was going to talk a lot, right? Is that he is finally getting to the point in the story where people start falling in love, and I'm in the fucking trenches trying to get to that point, and the grind is so long. It's so tedious. I thought when I was going into like an MMO, in my eyes, it was just an RPG, but bigger, with other people and so much more to do. But like what I do in this game versus like Final Fantasy XII or another RPG, Morrowind, whatever, is very different. The majority of the actions I've been taking in this game are getting a quest. That quest points me to a waypoint and says, speak to this person. And I go there and I talk to that person. This person tells me to talk to someone else. It's another waypoint. I go there. I might actually fight something in a quest, but it might be just a single mob, a couple of mobs, a few mobs. But like combat doesn't even feel that important where I'm at in the game. I've done maybe half a dungeons, but even like the quote unquote dungeons have been like 15, 20 minute things.
Question,
even if I cared about all
this point, at this point where you are like in this footage and whatnot, are you technically are you still in vanilla Final Fantasy XIV, or are you in a Realm Reborn?
No, I'm in a Realm Reborn. Yeah, I mean because
Realm Reborn is vanilla.
Okay,
yeah,
so
it replaced vanilla.
At what point
1.0 doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
1.0 was the one that nobody liked. It was really bad, so they nuked it. They pulled the game,
rebuilt it.
They rebuilt it, and when they introduced it as 2.0, it was called A Realm Reborn.
Gotcha. Okay. So what I'm really asking is
probably
at what point do you cross over from Realm Reborn or 2.0, whatever you want to call it, to the first expansion? Like
so I probably have another 120 quests. 100 quests in A Realm Reborn, after A Realm Reborn. So like there's a period of time between content, before an expansion comes out, where they're still releasing patches, still releasing quests, right? So after Realm Reborn, there's 80 quests I have to do before I can even start the first expansion. Part of the way through that is when I think the story starts to really pick up and the production values start to step up a little bit. But like when I say these are quests, my God, I am not exaggerating when it's like go to a waypoint, speak to a person. I streamed this last night. I probably did more quests than kill actual mobs. I completed more quests than killed things.
Is that due to where you're at in the game, or is that due to the core mechanics of the game? So like my curiosity is like, in something like a Final Fantasy X, you level up by fighting enemies. And now I know more in a lot more modern games, you get experience from completing a quest. And so it might be more beneficial to complete a quest than kill mobs. And is that how it is in this game? Like you almost don't even need to...
You get a lot of experience from killing random mobs is not the way to progress the RPG.
Is there a reason why
I don't even want to kill
mobs?
random mobs because I don't actually. That's just what they're called. Creatures,
really?
monsters.
Yes,
mobs.
That's just what they're called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brad, do you think
I don't even want to level up.
Okay, so out of curiosity, one of the reasons I never really got into MMOs is because maybe, and this was just a lot of early MMOs, I would hear stories about, oh, I wanted this one item, and it is a 1.2% drop from this one enemy, so I fought that enemy over and over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah,
and that's
but that enemy is gonna be like a dungeon boss.
Okay.
So you're like running the same raid over and over again, hoping that drops.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
it's not like something just out in the world that you go find.
That stuff's still here, but
that was going to be my question,
right? So
and that was going to be my question: is the reason they maybe give you more experience from doing quests rather than fighting mobs to prevent that kind of like mentality or something, to prevent like kind of the grind? Whereas I could see maybe doing like a raid in a dungeon and fighting a boss being more exciting than fighting like a random mob. I don't know. Like I haven't played
maybe,
an MMO,
but you understand. There's games like Witcher 3, right, where you get like very little experience killing things, and really you're getting all your experience from doing quests. A lot of RPGs these days are like that, but it's a little different here because the quests, there's not.
Does it just feel like fetch questy? Just go to point A, go to point B.
The thing is, like, I like the way this game looks. You get into these zones that are huge and beautiful, and the music comes in, and the music is nice. But like, there's no reason for you to fight the things out there or really go explore.
There's no reason right now.
Okay, sure, that's true. That's probably true. But like a lot of the action and a lot of the experience comes from stuff in like dungeons and raids, not actually like exploring these environments. You have this, for what I have is this little like hunt log or whatever, where occasionally I'll see an icon over a certain type of mob that I need to kill a few of to get a little extra experience. But I see these huge vistas and I'm like, I want to go explore. I want to find a cave. I want to find a chest or something, like you would in something like fucking Dragon's Dogma or Elder Scrolls or whatever. But it's not like that here. It's like I feel like, not just because I'm trying to get to the part where the story gets exciting, but I feel like I'm just following waypoints. And it's usually me awkwardly opening my map, finding out where it is. There's a lot of teleporting around. I'd say the percentage of time I actually spent fighting things in this game versus just walking around talking to people is probably, and again, I've done like maybe not even half a dozen dungeons. I've probably spent like 15 to 20% of my time actually in combat, which is good because I kind of hate the combat. So.
Let me ask you this
I
question.
don't know if thoughts like if your opinions on things like that are going to change. But there's a reason why they turned around and made
people say that I might, but the thing is, you got to understand about the combat is like when you get to like raid bosses and stuff, yeah, it's going to get more complex. It's easy to die. Stand in the right place, make sure you hit various like thresholds of like damage in certain states, whatever. It gets complex. It gets harder. But like the actual, like the stuff out in the world or whatever, right? Like the complexity of combat does not come from like really interesting choices. It's about knowing how to play your class, like knowing all your skills, how they interact with each other, and making sure like your timing and the order of all that stuff is right. People call it a rotation. I'm playing a summoner class, which is apparently notorious for having like this crazy rotation, but it is like a 2-minute like, I guess when you level up, 2 minutes of like pressing the right buttons in the right order with the right time and like not fucking up that timing and that rhythm. Because again, granted, I'm playing a DPS class, which is, the simple place to start, but the complexity in the combat comes from like mastering, the timing and the order at which you use those skills. And to me, I mean, that just hasn't been a lot of fun. And people are saying, well, wait till later when you have way more skills. And it's like, no, I want fewer skills. I want more interesting things to do with fewer skills. I don't want to have to, more. Look, so look at that bar there. That's like 16 different skills. I'm level 30. Like there's going to be like 3 of those bars by the time I'm level 80. And I'm already overwhelmed just juggling these. I don't want more skills.
Okay, well,
how many
Brad,
macros have you set up on your keyboard, Brad?
Yeah.
Well, I'm playing on PS5. I'm playing on PS5.
Oh.
So I'm using a controller. But you know how I've set up 16 different buttons, quick buttons, right? Mm-hmm. You have 8 and 8 depending on which trigger you're pressing. Mm-hmm. You can set up 8 different sets of 16. hot bars.
Jesus.
And I'm terrified because I chose to play the summoner class, and like from what I understand, I'm going to be using at least a couple more sets of those, and that's scary to me because I'm just not having a good time.
Well, I do think, and I think it's worth saying, not even for your benefit, but for the benefit of people listening to this conversation. I do think that the fact that you just had no idea what an MMO was, and that you're starting in 2021 and you're playing on a controller is just like such a lethal combo of like there's no way you're gonna get out of this.
Sure. But my complaints have nothing to do with the controls.
I know.
My irritation with the combat has nothing to do with the controls.
I know, but you would at least have had an idea of what to expect if you'd ever played any MMO ever, like to know like what you were even walking into, you know? I mean, like it sounds like you were expecting like action-oriented combat, which just
no. I don't want action-oriented combat. You know, my favorite game. I mean, I don't even want action-oriented combat. I just I didn't know it was going to be keeping up all of these different skills in certain orders and certain timings, you know, off global cooldowns. It's just not what I knew what it is. But like, I definitely don't want to blame the controller because from what I understand, like Final Fantasy XIV is famous for having like excellent controller support, and some people who play on PC that run raids use controllers is what people are telling me.
Yeah, I mean, I totally accept that that's viable, but like as your first introduction to any MMO ever, that's insane. That's insane to me.
I often play stuff with controllers. Like I'm playing Wasteland 3. Yeah. Which is, you know, a mouse and keyboard game. I like to play it with a controller because
this is not I don't know.
Real quick, can I interject?
But again, the controller is like not even related to.
Real quick, I want to interject. To speak as someone who.
I mean, what like a lot of your stream has been you fussing over UI stuff. And that's what like the whole mouse and keyboard thing would fix for you.
There's growing pains, but like, you understand, like that stuff has started to go away and will go away. I mean, that's just getting used to any new game, much less.
I'm not saying people can't play this game with controller. I'm not saying people don't do and like play end game content. I'm saying Brad doesn't even know what the game is. And he's starting off with a controller, which is not like the original design intent for this genre, let alone this specific game.
It's not doing you any favors.
That's all I'm saying. Like, it's not helping at all. It might be doing nothing, but it's probably hurting. That's all I'm saying.
I just want to interject to speak as someone who tried really hard to get into Final Fantasy. So I've played about 10 hours of World of Warcraft. I played about 20 hours of Final Fantasy XI, and I've played collectively about 15 to 18 hours of this. And I don't claim to be an expert on any of those games, but knowing what I know about Brad and the meat that he likes to dig into in these kinds of RPGs, if you had asked me, I probably would have said I don't think this game ever had any chance of being the kind of game that you would really find yourself getting into.
For me? For Brad?
Yeah, from a mechanical standpoint, from just the complexity of combat.
The reasons you just laid out.
Some people tell me that it might just be this MMO, right?
I mean,
and some people tell me just keep going
I
because
off of World of Warcraft and then
if your problem is in like rotations and the pace of combat,
like I just told you, 15% of my gameplay has been the combat, and like my concerns are the pace of like talking to people, going to waypoints.
So you like the combat,
but that's what MMOs have been since World of Warcraft.
So you do like the combat then?
No, I don't like the combat.
Well, that's what this combat is like how MMORPGs usually work. World of Warcraft is not going to be functionally different.
I'm saying even if I loved the combat, that's not even like the biggest problem with my experience. I don't like the combat. I would still be rather fighting things than what I've been doing most of my time.
And what I've been trying to articulate is that being someone who has played World of Warcraft, played Final Fantasy XI, and played this game, like all MMOs,
This is what
or like
it
this.
is.
This is what an MMO is. This is what an
Well,
MMO has been.
okay.
Since,
First of all,
since
World of Warcraft was not the first MMO, and a lot of the
No,
MMOs
it
that were out.
wasn't.
I
But,
didn't say it
but
was.
that
I
was
know,
like
I know, but
2004,
a lot
and
of the
basically every MMO since has been some kind of response to that.
You're right.
Like
but
EverQuest
listen,
doesn't
my
exist
origins
anymore.
and my
Dark
fear
Age
of this type of
Camelot,
game.
like,
My
guys.
origins of my interest and my fear of this type of game comes from my love of the MUD I used to play. And the MMOs that were out around that time were actually very different than World of Warcraft.
Like
So my
Ultima,
expectations
yeah.
were what I've heard from, friends of mine, people who even played the MUD, who played EverQuest, who played like Ultima Online.
I know,
and like
I
those,
know.
that's where I got my desire to play
I
an
know.
MMO. But like back then, my PC couldn't handle it, or I couldn't afford like a monthly fee because I was a fucking teenager, right? So I played my MUD, right?
All I'm saying is those expectations are like 30 years old.
I know, and that's
Nothing
why
in gaming
that's
is the
why
same
I
as
led
it was
this,
30 years ago.
That's why I led into this conversation by me saying I'm realizing that maybe I don't actually like MMOs. And when I say that, I mean modern MMOs. I think I even said that.
But it's just kind of frustrating because I feel like you've come to that conclusion 1,000 times and you're still
What do you mean?
I mean,
as I've been playing
doing
this?
this. Yeah. I've watched like every stream of you doing this and it's like, I don't know why you're doing this, man.
But
I mean,
everybody, because everybody hates the part of the game I'm in, and everybody's telling me I will love it so much more later. That's why I keep going.
I really am like,
May I ask 2 questions?
I don't know, man. Like, I don't think anything is gonna do it for you in this game. If the kind of problems that you're having, I don't think like Heavensward's gonna be much better. The story's cool,
But you understand, Crispy, I've been
like-
talking to people about this game for years, and like what they've been telling me is not what you're telling me.
I know.
I've seen several people in chat.
I also
Brad
think
needs to get
that
out
I
now.
also would like to think
Because-
maybe like you and I have a closer relationship, and I kind of like have a better read of what you're gonna like and not like, and but maybe I'm overstepping there. But I don't know.
I have
I mean-
two things I'd like to ask, if you don't mind.
Go ahead, Chris Davis.
Number 1, all this footage has been solo. How much of playing with other people have you done, Brad?
Well, that's interesting too. So I went into this experience kind of wanting to play mostly solo, right? Because I feel, just me, right? I don't play a lot of multiplayer games. I think the more hooked on like the social aspect of the game, the more addicted I would become with the game. Again, these were my fears going into an MMO. So I was like, I want to play this mostly solo, right? That was my goal. Just play it like a single player RPG. Some people kind of pitched it that way to some extent. I didn't realize that when you get to dungeons and stuff, you have to do the multiplayer. I thought I could run through a dungeon on my own, maybe just level up a little past the required level and then go do the dungeon or whatever. That's how I saw it. But no, when you get to multiplayer, or when you get to the dungeon, you have to do multiplayer. People in the community have been helping me get through dungeons, which, the dungeons I've been doing have only been 4-man dungeons. I think when you get to like raids and stuff later, it's more. But yeah, so I've been doing multiplayer outside of dungeons. I mean, in dungeons,
Like with
single
community
player
folks or
outside.
just randos?
Community folks, our community.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just question.
So if you're not playing much multiplayer and you're not enjoying the grind leading up to the expansions, why
Because no
not
one
just
does.
get a few members of the community together, have them carry you until you hit the end game?
You can't. It
He
doesn't
has
work
to
like
go
that.
through the quest.
You have to go through
chain.
it.
There's no way
You
to skip
finish
that
a Realm
step.
Reborn.
So
there's
this
80
game
quests before you start.
that is a main way in which this game is a little different from others, like other modern MMOs like World of Warcraft. If you go start World of Warcraft right now, you'll make a character and it's gonna start you wherever the new starting point is. Like all that other content is behind you. In this, they're trying like their whole thing was to try to make like a Final Fantasy MMO that had like the story elements that like a Final Fantasy game would have. So as part of that, you have to be caught up on the story to know where things are going. And it's like the game is structured around you playing through all those story missions.
Okay, but
Like it doesn't unlock until you finish those missions.
but
you know?
but power leveling isn't a thing in this game.
Not really. Not like you think it is.
Okay.
Not like I thought it was, actually.
But then,
Yeah, I
didn't
don't-
in regards to that, didn't we just talk about the fact that you can't like really just fight enemies to get experience because the main bulk of the experience you get from stories.
They've
Which I
made
guess
tweaks
then
to Realm
encourage-
Reborn to make
Yeah,
Yeah, so
to
like,
make
the idea
leveling easier,
being
but
that,
leveling
like,
up doesn't matter because when you get to story battles, they sink you down. They drop your level to be the level that they want you to be in line with that story battle. So there's I don't even I haven't really found much advantages to kind of like playing this game like I play RPGs. It's a very different thing. That's what I've come to that realization. And that's what I'm struggling with. The reason I've not given up is because people tell me it becomes fucking amazing and everyone's agreeing that this part sucks.
yeah.
That's why I'm playing it.
Okay, well then,
All right.
I mean,
then I just have one
when
more
I
question.
when I started playing my character, I got to like 30s or 40s or something last year, and I quit because it was just like I just didn't care. Right? It just wasn't engaging. I didn't care anymore. So I think the problem is that like there's some chaff with the wheat here as far as like truth is concerned. Like a lot of things people are telling you are true, but like there's some assumptions with those truths that like aren't matching up. Like this stuff is the worst of it. Like this part of the game is like the slog. It is really boring. Even people who like the game don't like this stuff. But that doesn't mean it really becomes a completely different game once you hit Heavensward, you know?
I'm realizing that too. But you know what they told me is that it never stops being go to this person, talk to this person, go to the next waypoint, go to the next waypoint, go to the next person. But that eventually I will start caring about those characters and wanting to hear what they say instead of wanting to skip through the dialogue.
That, I think, is absolutely
the cutscenes
true.
get better. The production values get better.
Dude,
10% of this game is fucking voice acted, maybe less. Maybe it's like 5%. But people tell me by the time I get to Shadowbringers, it's like 50% of it's voice acted. You know? So like it's like the tech. I mean, the writing's okay, but it's like really dull. The way they present it is really dull. You got these boring text boxes with like this boring font, and they throw a lot of it at you at once. No one's making a peep. There's no sound effect for the text. It's just text dump, text dump, text dump. And the quest can be about the most like innocuous bullshit. Honestly, sometimes it's more exciting, but like it is hard to absorb a story where I'm at in that way. But that changes, and that's why I'm keeping going because
it's like
my experience.
The story of the part that you're in right now isn't even like it's not even like the idea is that great. It's literally just like you're going around and like you're fighting these different savage beast tribes and just murdering their gods. And that's it. Because once you get all of their gods dead, you collect these crystals and I don't even remember what the fuck you do with it. Like I think the story elements of the later content is stuff you would genuinely be into. I think like the reason why you like Final Fantasy Tactics story because it's like this really kind of like operatic like politics
Game
and
of Thrones.
backstabbing and intrigue and stuff like that. That's what the story becomes, but it doesn't become that until like
I've heard people
patch
talk about this
5.2.
podcast.
Like
I've heard people talk. I've been listening to podcasts for over 15 years, and I know so much more about World of Warcraft, even though I've never played a second of it, than you probably realize. And I know so much about this game, because I've heard so many people talk about it for hours and hours and hours.
Which is
and
why
that's
I
one
don't
of the
understand why you
reasons I'm
don't trust
playing,
your own
because
instincts on it.
What do you mean I don't trust it? This is what I don't understand.
If
I'm
you
having
know
a
so
bad
much
time.
about it, I don't know. Like I don't.
Guys,
But here's what
I feel like we're going.
I'm having a bad
Do
time.
we need
No,
to
we
take a
are
break?
going in circles. This is the crazy part. I'm having a bad time. People understand why I'm having a bad time. Everybody had a bad time here. They say it gets better. They say stick with it. So I'm sticking with it. So what's...
I'm not telling you to stick with it.
All right,
I'm
guys.
telling you specifically what gets better.
We're taking. a
And
break.
if you think that's worth it, go ahead. But I don't think you should stick with it.
Okay, well, you're the first person, I think, who said that to me.
I mean,
There's people in chat saying it too, but I think you should quit. I don't think it's gonna. I think if you really want like a Final Fantasy story that's got like cool characters and intrigue and stuff like that, then maybe. But like understand
That's
that you're in for a lot of punishment before
It's funny
you get
because
there.
I see you in Discord in the past couple of days, and you're like flipping out. You're,
I
like,
am
losing
because
your
it's
mind.
great. Because it's great.
That's all I want to get to. That's it. That's what I want to get to.
Okay, but you're gonna fucking hate it. I think.
Like
I hated.
I'm ready to
I
move
hated
on. I'm
where
ready
you
to move
are.
on from this conversation.
I
I'm ready
hated
to
where
move
you
on
are,
from this
but I didn't hate it as much as you do. Is what I'm saying.
That's fair. That's fair. Let's move on.
Oh my god. Let's take a break. For the love of Christ.
Thank God.
Someone wake up Nolan.
We'll come back. We'll talk about something a little more lighthearted, like Super Mario. How's that? Can we handle a Super Mario conversation when we come back?
I think
We got some good questions to answer this week from our supporters on Patreon. We'll be back. Show. Welcome back. Let's talk about Super Mario.
Oh, just about anyone in particular? You know, I kind of like 64.
Did you finish 3D World?
I finished 3D World and I 100%ed Bowser's Fury. I actually want to talk about Bowser's Fury more than anything, obviously, because Super Mario 3D World is a port of a game that came out in 2011, which I had forgotten how old that game actually was. But I will tell you this: I had never played 3D World, and now I have. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good 3D Mario game. But Bowser's Fury is dope as fuck. I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, I haven't played that many games this year, I guess, but like this is. I might like this as a 3D Mario game. I might like this more than Odyssey.
You fucking take that back right now.
This is like, isn't this
Those
like
are some harsh words.
5 hours long?
I
It's
thought
not
you
meant to be
guys
harsh.
didn't like Odyssey.
No, I mean
I
like
thought I was
Odyssey
the
a
only
lot.
one on the show that liked that game.
Dude, I fucking
No,
loved
no.
Odyssey.
I love Odyssey. I mean, I like
Am I
Odyssey more
crazy?
than Sunshine, but it's also not my favorite 3D Mario game.
Well, you can't compare
But-
one of the best 3D Mario games to one of the worst 3D Mario games. That's really silly to
Wait.
do.
Wait. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Oh, okay.
Well, Nick, tell me what
Right.
would happen if Mario went open world.
Have you played Bowser's Fury?
Is that what this is?
I know a lot about
Dude,
it.
Bowser's Fury is straight up. If not, I mean, honestly, I played this game 100%. I 100%ed it, and I played it for about 12 hours, something like that.
12 hours. Oh wow, I didn't hear
yeah,
there was that much to do.
There's a decent amount of content.
100% to 100% it. Yeah, it's about 10 to 12 hours, I would guess, unless I just suck at Mario games, which is also possible. I don't know. But you know, one, I think this is a great 3D Mario game. Two, I think it's one of the best games I've played this year. And three, it is, if nothing else, a litmus test for what a Mario game could be as an how open world design would work in a Mario game. Because that's exactly what this game is. They drop you into this world, and you're running from island to island, and the level design, like the Mario level design, is just in the world. And you
So Brad,
go
think
and do
of
it.
So think of this game essentially is a giant open world, but harken back to Super Mario 64. You'd go into a painting, right, and you choose essentially this is the star I'm going for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Based on which one you choose, that kind of changes the level,
Yeah.
right? It happens in this game dynamically. Like Bowser shows up, like Gig Bowser, whatever he's called, changes the world. Like you don't load in, load out. I mean, yeah, there's like a little cutscene while it's happening, but it completely changes how the world looks, how it feels, the enemies that are around, and the longer and more you play, it keeps happening. It keeps changing.
So like the twist. I don't want to say twist, but like the main differentiator I think between this and or what makes it unique as an open world game, I guess, is that like Bowser randomly shows up. He's a big giant, like Nolan said, like big Mecha Bowser, or not Mecha Bowser, but like Dark Bowser, and he shows up randomly. You don't really know when it's coming. It just every once in a while it'll just start to rain. The clouds will come in, and the world will get dark, and all of a sudden there's the enemies are crazier. There's more of them. He's launching fireballs at you all over no matter where you go in the map. He's blowing shit up. And there's and even on top of that, when he shows up, there are certain things that you can only get to because you need him to destroy it with his fireballs first. So
Bowser blocks,
when
right?
Correct.
Yeah, so you have to run around trying to find these blocks that only he can destroy while you have this time. And if you earn a star in the world while he's cat shine while he's smashing around, it'll banish him and he'll go away for a while and the sun will come back out. And then it's just, then you're just back to playing, a regular Mario game out in this open world.
It's a neat idea for sure.
It's a cool idea, and it's executed very, very well here. A lot of that wonderful, magical Mario level design is all present here, and it just, without having to go loading in between areas. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. But I do want to see this on a bigger scale because I feel like the fact that they bundled this with Super Mario 3D World is basically just saying
a proof of concept.
Like this?
Exactly. This is them saying hey, we're kind of toying with this idea around. Let's throw this inside a fucking remake of a game and see what people think about it. And honestly, I do think that if we get a Mario Odyssey 2, I think it's going to be more like this, where it is Odyssey, one of my favorite 3D Mario games, giant open worlds, but there are several of them and you're kind of you're choosing, I want to go to this one now and I want to go to this one now, versus this where it is a big open space and you kind of just explore it. I definitely foresee the next Mario game being more like a combination of the two. And
I was I had my doubts about it. I mean, and also I still wasn't quite sure what to expect from this in terms of scope. And while it is definitely a proof of concept for what might be a future game, it still very much is big enough and with enough content to feel like I would absolutely consider this, when you're thinking about best games you played in the year. It's I played it for 12 hours and I got there's all kinds of wonderful Mario level design all over the place in this. But the whole the way Bowser changes the world is so. It's so unique. It's the whole your focus. You're kind of your focus shifts instantly. The moment he shows up, it's kind of okay. One, I have to find a shine to make sure I can get him to go away. And two, I need to run around this world and find all these opportunities that I only can take advantage of while he is there. So it's kind of you're playing two games, but they're glued together, and you go back and forth between them on the fly. Mm-hmm. It's really neat. It's such a cool idea, and I had no idea how an open world Mario game would work, but I totally have faith now. I want this on a bigger scale, even though this is already pretty.
It's bigger than I thought it was going to be. Put it that way, Brad. I was kind of in your assumptions that I thought it was going to be.
There's 100 shines.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a quick 5-hour thing. And don't get me wrong, yes, there are 100 shines, but Super Mario 64 had 120, and it would take you probably 3 times as long as Mario 64. I would say this one is more dense than most 3D Mario games we've seen in the past. Think of if you're thinking of Galaxy or Odyssey or even 64. The cat shines in this are way more close together and compact. But once again, like I said, I think it's just a proof of concept.
But I think it also does wonders for the pacing too, because the fun part about 3D Mario games is getting the shines or the stars or whatever they're called, and you rarely go more than 5 minutes without grabbing a new.
Well, what are you doing as you're traveling from one island to the next?
So
the islands are
island
pretty close together.
Yeah, they're pretty close. There's sections. It's a fucking archipelago. There's a section of islands over here, and then as soon as you get to a certain point, you unlock a new section of islands, and then you unlock a new section of islands.
So was the progression a little fairly linear in that way?
No, not necessarily. You have to get X number of shines to progress to the next section, but you can get them in any combination from the previous islands type deal. I think each island has about 5 shines, I think.
Yeah, so the weird thing is, so you're actually each island has a lighthouse, and the lighthouse has 5 notches in it, and as you unlock each shine, the shine hits the lighthouse and adds another stripe to it. So you have to get 5 stripes to fill the lighthouse, and then the lighthouse, when the lighthouse goes off, that's how you know you've finished that island.
Yeah, you've completed it.
So I mean, it's like
after you unlock
Mario
a certain number of shines.
Mario 64, except you can see the other worlds and you never have to leave the paintings.
Yeah, but the goal you're actually trying to help Bowser Jr. bring his dad back because his dad's possessed by something or whatever.
That's
so
unfortunate. Right? Anything involving Bowser Jr. is disappointing.
So it's kind of like Mario Galaxy in that the co-op play in this is actually whoever the second player controls Bowser Jr. and flies around and like grabs things.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you, Nick, are you playing this by yourself and Bowser Jr.'s AI for you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm playing it with Bernadette. Bernadette is playing as Bowser Jr. And it can, I don't want to say it's OP, but it can be pretty extreme. So as you noticed, Nick is collecting, the cat shines, which are the big ones, but then there are these little cat like medallions. And if you collect all 5 of them in the area, that unlocks a shine on its own.
Like a red coin.
Exactly. Yeah. Bowser Jr. can collect the coins, but not the actual shines. Bowser Jr. cannot collect the shines. Mario has to physically touch them. But yeah, so there's often times where there's kind of one like kind of high off in the distance and you have to do some difficult platforming thing and maybe I accidentally fell. Well, then Bernadette would just fucking fly up there as Bowser Jr. and grab it real quick.
That's bullshit.
But there are also certain because Bowser Jr. is, if you've played Sunshine, the antagonist in that game is Bowser Jr. with like the fucking paintbrush or whatever. So he still has that in this game, and you can find these little like cut murals on the wall, and Bowser Jr. will paint on them, and that will unlock like a power up. And if you notice in the bottom left, you can see that there's a bunch of power ups, and you can essentially like bank them. At any point in time, you can press a button and choose, I want to switch to this power up. That kind of
like
part
in the
makes
original
it
Super Mario World.
Yes and no. It's a little more OP than that because you can have 5 of each. Unlike any other Mario game, if like think of 3D World. Say you're the Tanuki suit Mario, and then you pick up a fire flower. Well, then the Tanuki suit goes away, and now you're fire flower Mario, whatever. In this, like it just kind of goes back into your bank. The only time you lose it is if you get hit while you have it. Like I said, it's definitely a little OP.
I will say this:
this whole thing is so weird that it's even attached to Mario 3D World. This feels like
no.
like a prototype of Sunshine 2 that they polished and turned into this thing, and instead of a flood,
but there is a
cat.
reason.
Well, that's what I'm confused about. Is this like in the game or is it a separate app?
Separate game.
It's a set. Like when you go to the menu, you swipe right to go to Bowser's Fury, and it has its own start menu and everything. But what I will say is, I think another reason why it's packaged specifically with Super Mario 3D World is a lot of the mechanics and a lot of the world features that you find in 3D Mario World are used in this game. So obviously the cat suit's the big one, but like all the little like the new little like elements of the world and creatures or enemies that you discover in 3D World are all used in very much the same way in this game, obviously just on a different in a different format. Like the little dinosaur that you do levels in Mario 3D World that you ride around the back of that dinosaur.
It's called
Plessie.
Yoshi.
No, Plessie. Sorry, Plessie.
Yeah.
The water Yoshi.
Yeah, the wet ass.
So you like.
Yeah.
So when you travel to different islands on Plessie. What was that?
Wet ass Plessie.
Oh.
Bring a puppet. And
that's what I've been calling it with Bernadette ever since we saw Plessie for the first time.
That is.
But yeah, so that's a good point, Nick. Because the world is kind of larger, I don't even know if you could swim to the other sections of the islands. As soon as you unlock that other section, Plessie shows up and kind of teleports to wherever you need it to be. And you can just at any point in time just jump on Plessie and like ride to the other islands and stuff like that.
Yeah, and there's also lots of little hidden shines throughout, like in the ocean and stuff that you can get to, and there's like underground things that you can get to, and there's all kinds of it's a Mario, like all kinds of hidden shit all over the place. Yeah, dude, this game is
I like it.
Great.
I
highly recommend it.
I like what it's trying to do, and if y'all remember, I have vivid fucking memories. Sitting in Brad's house when we used to do the podcast there, sitting in those little fucking gray chairs. I think that's when we had the conversation of I can't remember what it was. It was a recent Mario game that come out, and honestly, it might have been 3D World, or it might have been actually 3D Land. And I remember I was bitching about it because I was like, I'm tired of Mario being the same shit. When are we getting like a new 64 that's open world? And then Odyssey came out, and I was like, look, this isn't what I asked for, but it's pretty fucking close. This proof of concept is getting even closer to what I want in a 3D Mario game. If they made
Mario
I feel like on the if they made our Mario Odyssey, or sorry, if they made this game on a scale of Odyssey, it could be fucking amazing. You know, if it was that, you know, like diverse and as unique unique areas and stuff like that, it would be fucking phenomenal. Just like a 3D
honestly,
world you could explore. Yeah, like Breath of the Mario,
I feel
exactly.
like
That style would be great.
I feel like if they combine what they learned from this Mario Odyssey and of course Breath of the Wild, there could be like a fucking like best Mario game ever made,
100%,
hands down.
You know, I don't know where they're gonna go. You know, with like Cappy versus, like you said, Mario Odyssey obviously had the focus on Cappy, whereas this has the focus on the Katsu. Because you didn't get to
totally weird, by the way.
Yeah, you didn't get it in the footage, but I'm sure everyone who's seen like any trailers for this knows you could see it off in the distance. The Giga Bell eventually once you've unlocked enough cat shines, the Giga Bell becomes available, and you can get it and fight Bowser as like Giga Cat Mario.
Super Saiyan.
Oh yeah,
he's not just a
Saiyan.
giant Mario. He's a giant cat Mario.
Yes,
giant cat Mario.
So hold on, and that's the crazy thing. I didn't realize this because they never show it. If you're fighting Bowser and you get hit, you lose that power up. So now you're just giant Mario, and if you get hit again, you're giant tiny Mario. It's fucking hilarious being a giant small Mario trying to fight Bowser.
You know where I want Mario to go though? Is that like, so one of the things about this game that I guess is somewhat unique to this is you collect power-ups like they're items, and you can like store a bunch of them at once. I want to go like more Metroid style, that like once you get the fireball, you have the fucking fireball, and now you can unlock parts of the world where the fireball can burn shit or whatever. When you get the cape, you have the cape, and it's like your fucking screw attack.
That's like the Breath of the Odyssey. That's like a Breath of the Wild style,
that.
like that. Like, you know, if like you unlock new abilities that like Metroidvania-esque, let you explore the world differently. That would definitely be cool.
Sunshine
Mario
had
Prime.
that too.
You know,
a little bit. Yeah.
I think if nothing else, this is an indicator that they are interested in trying new and exciting things with Mario. And
Which
I think
they've
that's
always, which
great.
is, you know,
No,
history of Mario games, yeah. But
I mean, no. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think design in Mario games have always been incredible. Don't get me wrong, but this, I think, just structurally is the most ambitious thing they've done in a long time. And it would have been easy just to come up with another gimmick and then do another like Galaxy or Odyssey, where it's structurally, the world structure wise, it's very similar, but you just have some other mechanic that differentiates them. Obviously, level design and stuff is always going to be stellar, but this feels different from the get go, and I haven't felt.
You know what's great about this game? No fucking time limit. Fucking hate that shit.
Yeah.
So
by the way,
fucking
so before we move on from Mario, I did play all the way through Super Mario 3D World, which I had never touched before. That game's pretty good.
there's three worlds after you finish.
There's 4 worlds after, I think.
I have a lot of complaints about 3D World because Burnett and I played through it. We haven't finished the extra worlds. We've done some, but not all of them.
I spent I'm not even shitting you. I did like that. I was like, I'm gonna see what these extras, the Star Worlds, are after now that I've finished it, because I was still kind of riding high. I was like, this game is great.
The Star Worlds are always more intense.
That first star level, 50 tries. 50 tries to get it.
They're
and
tough.
I was like, I don't need
Were you
this.
playing
in my
as
life.
Rosalina?
No, I was playing as
You
Mario.
don't unlock Rosalina until after you do some of the first Star World area.
Oh,
I might end up going
never
back
used
periodically
Mario
and just
in
kind
this
of doing a little bit at a time.
So what I'll say, and just quickly talk about 3D World, it's still not one of my favorite. I mean, it's okay. I just have a lot of problems with the technical decisions they made with this game. It's a lot of like camera angles are very frustrating. There are certain levels.
Perspective is an issue sometimes.
Perspective is fucking horrible sometimes. The problem is they'll do things where you need to do a crazy jump, but you can't see your shadow. And it's like, well, how the fuck am I supposed to see my shadow? Like, I don't know where I'm gonna land because the camera's literally like 100 feet away from Mario. I don't know why they chose that for this particular jump. I can't see my shadow, so I don't know where I'm landing. There was one particular level where it was like a lava level, and I don't know if you remember this one, Nick. You're on like a block that's constantly rolling, and so the problem is that wasn't too difficult. But the problem is the game, everything was lava, but it wasn't just lava. It was a bright glowing lava. It was like way too much bloom on it, and I couldn't fucking see anything. And I was like, do I need to change the fucking settings on my TV? Because I literally just can't see anything. And it was like frustrating that it was so bright, and then I died enough, and the game's like, oh, you've died so many times, here's the white Tanuki suit, which barely fucking helps on those levels, because if you fall in the lava, it doesn't matter. But then the problem became, I was like, sure, whatever, I'll pick up the fucking white Tanuki suit. I'm now a white bright Mario against a glowing yellow background, and I can fucking barely even see myself. It's like worse now.
Yeah.
But I just think there was a lot of
that was
problems.
Literally like their solution in every level is to give you the white Tanuki suit.
After you die a number of times, they're like, "Here, just fucking take this." And
I'm too fucking stubborn. I didn't do it.
They're usually irrelevant for me. It's more of like
I did on the star level. I'll tell you that much. After 50 tries.
But it was just one of those things where it's like either the levels were ridiculously easy or they're pretty difficult. And I just, like I said, another frustration is if you're not playing by yourself, if you're playing co-op, I don't understand when the camera decides who to focus on. And if there's a button
I can't even imagine.
Draw focus to me, I don't know what it is, and I tried to fucking figure out what that would be. I didn't Google it. Maybe I should have. But like a problem would often be, it's, first of all, there's a time limit, so it's not like you can just fucking dilly-dally in these levels. You have to get to the end before it's over. And there would be times where, like, we would be going, and I would notice, like, there's clearly a green star over here. I want to go and get it, but Bernadette, I don't have time to enunciate my opinions on what I'm about to do to Bernadette, so she just keeps going. And I'm about to get it, and then I'm about to get it, but then the camera's like, no, I'm gonna follow Luigi right now, and then I fucking like mistime a jump, or it fucking pulls me away from it, and I'm like, why the fuck? Like, I'm trying to do something here to like get this thing, and the camera's like, no, I'm gonna follow Luigi, who's stomping on a Goomba. It's like, what the fuck are you doing, game? Like,
I have a feeling that's probably a big reason why. I mean, like, my opinion of the game is actually quite positive, but I didn't play any co-op, so I didn't really have to deal with any of those frustrations. I ended up really liking it just because the levels were so tightly packed with like cool ideas, but they were also very short, so you can like blow through a level. Like, several times where I was just like, I'm going to play a level and then move on to something else, which was really great pacing.
You should play Sackboy with Bernadette and Nolan.
We had talked about it at one point, and I'm sure we maybe eventually will.
It's like a breezy version of this.
Okay,
but yeah, that's Bowser's Fury in 3D World. That's highly recommend, especially for no other reason.
Honestly,
I almost feel like Bowser's Fury is worth the price of admission.
That's what I was going to say. Honestly, even if you own I own 3D World on the Wii U right over there. But I bought this again, and honestly, it's definitely worth the price tag just for Bowser's Fury. Bowser's Fury is great.
Yeah. Cool.
What is the price tag?
$40.
It's a Mario game, yeah.
$60.
Oh, it's only 40? I thought it was 60.
Oh, wait, you're right. No, you're right. It is 60.
40 is not a number that exists on the Switch.
Yeah.
I put 40 in my head, and now hearing it's 60. It's almost too much.
I was about to say
60 is the new 40.
Yeah, it's 60.
Way I can borrow your copy there, Nick?
Yeah, sure.
There might be some $40 indie games, but there's no $40.
I know
Nintendo
Robin's playing it now, so you might have to wait for her to be finished with it.
That's fine. I can wait a while.
The other game I wanted to talk about was
Half-Life
1. Half-Life 1 that I've been playing.
Directed by Chris Davis.
Half-Life 1. I've been
Nick,
playing the
stop
original
it. Look,
Half-Life.
I support your decision. Let me
break it down for you real
quick. The original, as Gabe intended it.
I did not want to play the same game more or less back to back. And if I was going to pick one, I wanted to play the more modern one. So
I would have never recommended the original Half-Life to you, I don't think, over this.
Oh, wonderful. Then we're good. Then we're
to
golden.
you specifically.
Okay, great. I'm playing Black Mesa, written and directed by Chris Davis.
Thank you.
I mean, just
worked
kidding.
very hard.
It is a fan remake of the original Half-Life.
did-
A very
Fan
competent
remake of the original Half-Life. But if I remember correctly, maybe Chris Davis probably knows more about this than I do. But
No.
fan remade, but got the green light from Valve, right? Like it was.
Yeah, Valve basically
Valve
gave
has
them-
some role, right?
Yeah, Valve gave them carte blanche to use any assets they needed. They gave them rights to the license.
Well, it paid off. So, and honestly, this is going to turn into a full blown replay of Half-Life 1 and 2, because this definitely got me in the mood to play Half-Life 2 again, because I realized I haven't touched that game since the orange box on the Xbox 360.
When you say a replay of Half-Life 1, you mean what you played here? You don't mean you're going to go back and play Half-Life 1, right?
No, right. I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna play Half-Life 2, and then Half-Life 2 Episode 1 and 2. But I'm gonna play them on PC because I've only ever played the 360 version of the orange box.
Also, yeah, I feel like we're glossing over the fact that he's only played Half-Life 2 on the orange box on the 360,
Yeah, I mean, the orange
Which
box
I'm sure
was-
is far from ideal.
about as bad.
No, it's
I mean-
not, dude.
I mean, it was a great value of a
fine.
product, and it ran
Half-Life
pretty
2
well
was on the
360.
original X. The first time I played Half-Life 2 was on the original Xbox. That is not a good way to play Half-Life 2.
No, it is not.
I mean, let's be honest. At the time, I didn't have any other options. I didn't have a PC capable of playing Half-Life 2, so that was the only way I was ever going to play Half-Life 2
Yeah,
back
the
in
orange
the
box
day.
is fine.
So I'm really glad I did. It was still a great value, and I loved that game for what it was. But I'm very excited to play the game on PC now. But anyways, I'm playing Black Mesa. Couple things. One, speaking as someone who's never played Half-Life 1, this game is way bigger than I thought it was. For some reason, I was thinking in my head Half-Life 1 was like some 4 to 5 hour shooter.
No.
I'm going on
Nothing was-
13 hours now, and I still probably have 3 hours to go. This is a beefy game with a lot of variety.
I mean, based on your footage, you're probably in Zen by now, right?
I just got to Zen last night,
Okay.
and I haven't done much. I walked around a little bit. I know when you talked about it, you brought footage of Zen, so you've kind of covered that. So I just kind of wanted to mention it because it's something. It's a game I've never played, and
I mean, I've never played it either.
That
So
is
Nolan
the true
specifically-
thing to see is the Zen stuff, right? That's where they put in the most work. Zen in the original
Right.
Half-Life sucked, and now it's they made it this big, elaborate, it's a whole thing now.
It's a
Yes.
whole thing, yeah. Which again, I've only dicked around for about 10 minutes in Zen so far,
There's that.
because that's pretty late in the game. But what? Oh no, yeah, right, yeah. So I came around the corner and shot this dude.
Oh no,
Not
Barney! No.
And the funny thing is, that's the first time that ever happened to me in this game. Is I came around this the cool thing that I really like. I'm assuming this was part of the original Half-Life, but you meet security guards throughout the world, whatever, and you can if you talk to them, they'll come with you and they'll provide backup and everything until they take damage and die.
That's
which
a Half-Life
is really cool.
one thing, yeah.
Haven't had this happen before until I was recording footage for this episode. I walked around the corner and just blasted the security guard in the face with a shotgun, and then I was like, well, I'm recording. I might as well just keep going.
So much for blue shift.
But yeah, man, Half-Life 1's pretty good. A lot of cool set pieces, a lot of great design. I do think I playing early on, I got the urge the urge to play Half-Life 2 because honestly, I do feel like Half-Life 2 is a GOAT. Although I feel like I need to play it again before I can really make that call for myself personally. But it got me a lot of the atmosphere and the pacing and just the sound effects and everything early on in this game really got me in the mood to play. I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go all out and play the whole series again. At some point, I feel like there's a shift in Half-Life 1 where it goes from being really atmospheric and whatnot to just being
The Marines
kind
show
of
up.
when the Marines show up, it just becomes a fast-paced fucking shooter, which is great. The shooting feels amazing, and I'm loving it for that. But
But
yeah,
you
there's
gotta
a tonal shift.
understand, back in the day, it was obviously Half-Life was revolutionary for, many reasons, but one of them was like the marine AI was like unlike a lot of AI you've seen in like shooters at the time. So yeah, it was like a lot of action, but like it was like revolutionary action kind of at the time.
Is the AI in Black Mesa improved over the original, or is it pretty comparable to what it was?
It's new AI. It's not that old code. But that being
it feels almost fear-like. Like they'll flank the shit out of you in like the most creative way.
That's sort of in line with kind of what they were getting at with the original. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
but look, so I remember
it's
when Nolan
almost
was talking
fear-like.
about.
Let's not be crazy. It's not fear quality.
I know. I'm just saying. There was several times where I was in a firefight and I realized that a dude had like gone around like a back hallway and like circled around and came out behind me, and I was like, I haven't seen that shit outside of Fear 1. And I was just like, that's impressive. I just didn't know if that was more of a Black Mesa thing or if that was what it was like in the original, but it's impressive one way or the other. It makes this particular game quite good.
And the sound design is so good. Like all the set piece moments are really well done. The Resonance Cascade is a great sequence, really well recreated. Dude,
there's a lot of really great. Like, I don't know why. I mean, again, this is probably just my ignorance not having played the original, but like there's so many like set pieces and levels that just I had no idea this game was really capable of. Like I had this very clear picture in my head of what I thought Half-Life 1 was, and it was very
it Doom?
much.
Did you think Half-Life was Doom?
No, but I thought it was all kind of like what the first level of Doom, or not. God damn it, you had to say Doom. But the first level of Half-Life 1 is, which is running around these labs with the scientists and whatnot. But like it goes so much beyond that. It feels much bigger by the time it's all said and done, which is great. Nolan, I was going to specifically address you because I know you played Half-Life 2 for the first time recently after playing. Was that before?
No,
or after
it was leading up to Half-Life Alyx, yeah.
So, and I was kind of in the same boat. Like, I didn't want to play. I mean, I always wanted to play Half-Life 1, but like I also love Half-Life 2 so much. I don't
think Black Mesa wasn't out when I played it, right? I don't think it was.
I mean, this has been out in some form since
I know
development for.
I know there was something available, but like the complete game was not out.
It came out right around the same time. I think you were playing.
Zen came out in December 2019.
So I had talked to a bunch of people about what to do, and a lot of people were saying like the original Half-Life is pretty rough. Just because of its age, and they were just saying you could just watch a video, and that's what I ended up doing. Was I just watched essentially a YouTube video that was like a recap of the story, not like the entirety of the game, but just kind of making sure I was up to speed on what was going on, because I literally had no idea. I had never played Half-Life before at all.
I just remember you made a comment about you said something about you wanted to play Half-Life, but you didn't necessarily want to go back and play that the older game, and that's exactly kind of how I felt. And then I decided to do this because I had it for so long. I was in my library, and I was in the mood to just play something new on PC. So I started playing it last Sunday, and then 6 hours later, I was like, "Holy shit!"
Gotcha.
So, if that's kind of where you find yourself, and you want more Half-Life, but even if you don't want to necessarily go back and play the original one, this is pretty damn good.
I'm sure I'll eventually get around to playing this, yeah.
And that gun is cool. I don't know.
The glow-on
I forgot
cannon?
what it's called. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Yeah, so I just wanted to... Half-Life 1 is a pretty good video game. Sorry, I'll stop saying that.
You should
let me know when you do your next stream of this, because I really want to watch you get through it.
I honestly don't think I'll probably be finished with it before I do another stream. Like I said, I just got to Zen. I don't know. Maybe I'll stream it.
Zen is like a whole another game and a half up until this point.
Okay,
like it's 6 to 7 hours of content.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, that can't be right. There's no way.
Look,
like
Chris Davis and Nick
6, but
get in a room together. They're both inflating hour counts. It'd be crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it is substantial.
I'm just saying I've played
content they've added.
This game says albeit howlongtobeat.com. I don't know if that's the best gauge for anything, but it says 14 hours. I'm on hour 12 right now.
Yeah, well, look at how long.
Yeah, that's what he said. Another 6 to 7 hours.
Look at how long to beat for Bowser's Fury, Nick. Maybe you're just a slow gamer.
Dude, Chris Davis is the guy who played 10 minutes of a game and then decided
Talked
to
about
talk
it
about
for
it.
20.
17.
And then decided to talk about it on the podcast.
17.
And we'll never let you forget that 17 minutes, okay? Ever.
You know, even if I went back and I played Perception, I think it was, all the way through to completion.
I don't even remember.
He doesn't even remember what it's called.
I don't remember.
Oh, you're
Perception.
right. Bowser.
Anyways.
Wait, no,
I just
that's
wanted to
3D
say-
World plus Bowser's Fury.
Yes.
Never mind.
Wait, shut the fuck up. I just wanted to say, Chris Davis, you were right. This game's pretty good. There is now two supporting votes for playing Black Mesa. Go play it. It's pretty good.
Chris Davis doesn't get to be right for saying Half-Life is good. Okay.
I get to say Black Mesa is good. I get to say that.
That's
Yeah.
true.
And Nick
You need to do
has
a
no
top
comparison.
5 Chris Davis, you need to do a top 5 video games directed by Chris Davis.
Yeah. Get Even would be on there.
Doom 2016. We can make the list right now. 13
You know, I was
Sentinels.
Do it. Keep going.
I was
going.
messaging Nick the other day on Twitter. How
We gotta get a picture of Chris Davis in a t-shirt and like a blazer, like he's a game developer.
Stalker 2.
I was.
Yep.
Well,
Stalker 2.
no. Everyone here is going to play Stalker 2. That's a given.
Escape from Tarkov, wasn't that one of yours?
No, that's definitely not me.
No, that's not.
Or
one of
what
Chris.
was the one? What was the old one?
But I was messaging Nick on Twitter because he said he's ordered
Valhalla.
a copy of. What? Oh, the Cyberpunk bartending action Valhalla.
Yeah.
Not Assassin's Creed. But
13 Sentinels or whatever, 12 Sentinels?
has your copy of 13 Sentinels come in yet, Nick?
Yes, thank you for spoiling my 4-player minute.
Well, you
Man,
put it on
everyone's
Twitter,
minutes being spoiled
like a week
today.
ago.
Ah.
Then why did you
Aha,
ask if
anyways.
you already knew the answer?
I took the liberty of signing the cover for you, just so you know.
Oh, thank you. Much appreciated,
You're
game
welcome.
developer. Let's move on. Let's answer some viewer questions. Nolan, I highlighted some viewer questions.
Yeah, I
We're
saw
a little
that.
behind. We didn't do viewer questions last time because we ran out of time. So we got some good ones. I apologize.
We always get good
We will
ones.
catch up. We'll catch up and everything. I just want to remind everybody, even if you don't think we'll get to your question on this week, if you have a question, just go leave it. Just go leave the question on the form. It's in the supporters channel in Discord at discord.gg/4player. Check it out. You can leave your questions there. We'll get to them eventually. Anyways, Nolan, take it away.
Go! All right, first question this week is from the Drunken Merchant. I just listened to the, quote, Will bonus audio from Final Fantasy X/10-2 HD, and holy shit, this is some major fan fiction trash on an official release of a well-renowned series. What do you believe is the worst extended universe/addition to any game series? For the fun of it, let's leave out Final Fantasy, though discuss it if you'd like.
Onimusha
I do
Dawn of
feel like-
Dreams.
Ooh, that's a good one. Although, to be honest, I remember so little of Onimusha Dawn of Dreams other than the fact that I hate it.
I've played that game twice, and let me tell you, it is
It does
so
not feel
shit.
like it does not feel like it belongs with the rest of the series. It's weird. Also, I feel like Dino Crisis 3 feels super fanficky. It's like my God, like let's put the dinosaurs in space. It just feels like, you know, it was scribbled on like some high school kid's like spiral bound notebook, and then they turned it into a video game. Which, you know, that there's a place for things like that, I suppose. It's just weird coming off of like Dino Crisis 1 and 2, which are obviously both very different games. In
What was
itself.
the example that the person who wrote the question gave?
Final Fantasy
missed that.
X-2.
Oh, okay.
Also,
I'd say the
I think
tactics
he's specifically
advanced
referring to the story beats of that game because
Yeah.
mechanically speaking, that game is dope. Like the combat system in 10-2.
Yeah.
Well,
pretty
so
good.
so they were referring to the Will bonus audio from that.
What is the Will bonus audio?
I
Does
have no
anybody
idea.
I don't know.
No, I don't know because
I feel like they should write in, or we could probably just do the research ourselves.
It's
but
epilogue content that says what
Okay.
happens after 10-2.
I have an answer.
Okay.
How about everything related to Final Fantasy VII after the release of Final Fantasy VII, including whatever this fucking Yuffie thing is, which is not how we should be introduced to Yuffie. We're Kingdom Hearts now.
He's protesting this before it's even happened.
Oh, of course I'm fucking protesting. We see it happening. It's before our eyes. It's happening. We've seen it happen so many times by modern Square Enix.
You don't
It's
like
happening
this, Brad?
again. No, I don't. A dude from that game was the teaser with the stinger at the end of that Yuffie trailer from this game. That dude that looked all like a Kingdom Hearts character. He's from
Dirge
that
of
game.
Cerberus?
Yes. It is like they brought back Star Wars and then they leaned into the episode 1, 2, and 3. That's like what's happening.
Well, that actually was around the time of episode 1, so
I'm just saying.
I feel like
it was the perfect
it's kind of
opportunity to
impossible.
forget about all that stuff, and they're bringing it back.
There's got to be a good answer from there buried somewhere in Kingdom Hearts as well, right? Half that series feels like fan fiction bullshit, doesn't it?
Also,
do you
look
know
at
who the
Final
dude
Fantasy
was,
15,
Brad?
13. He had spiky silver hair, like fucking trunks.
Is it this guy, Azul?
No, I don't think it's that guy.
Somebody in chat has to
maybe
know.
when he goes Super Saiyan, his hair looks like that. But
Damn, this is an intense guy. Or like a little manual for this game.
like the dude, remember from Crisis Core, that motherfucker reciting poetry, talking about dreams. Genesis, I think his name was.
Oh my god.
That dude's gonna find his way into this garbage. I'm telling you. We can't get into it. My fuck you for this week goes to Square Enix.
we're not even to the
Anybody
4-player
else?
minute yet.
Yeah.
Any other good? I feel like just Final Fantasy is so ripe for.
Final Fantasy. There's definitely a lot of really shitty Assassin's Creed stuff that they kind of put out. That's like expanded universe stuff. That's like just like bullshit.
The Assassin's Creed movie, while admittedly, I didn't hate like I hate most.
Do you remember when we watched
video
that
game
and I
movies.
ejected the disc and broke it in half? And you thought I was breaking your disc, but I was just breaking a random CD.
Yeah, you punk ass. As much as I didn't hate that as just a entertaining movie to watch, it certainly does feel like some weird fan fiction add-on to.
I mean, you can say the same thing with all the fucking Resident Evil movies.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
definitely.
It has a distinctly like Hollywood brand of cynicism to it, though. You know,
Yeah.
of like, oh well, we can't tell this story. It's fucking stupid. Let's just come up with something else. Like,
All right, let's move on.
Like Monster Hunter.
Yeah. Next question this week from Mork from Ireland.
no, he's from Orc.
No, okay.
He's got a friend named Mindy.
Yeah, thank you. Is the panel still negative about the Mass Effect 3 ending?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Next question.
If you ask,
No, I have come around to the point where like I just don't like Mass Effect that much anymore.
Yeah, I hate it now.
man, that comment took a hard left turn. I wasn't prepared for it to turn that hard.
I was thinking about the other day, like there was a point in my life when I really loved Mass Effect and I like read the novels and shit and was like really into it and like I don't give a fuck anymore. Like
Oh, that's sad.
I know what happened. Mass Effect
But,
used to
like,
be great, and we all loved it. And then Mass Effect became bad, but the hardcore fans still loved Mass Effect. And then all that lingered was bad Mass Effect games and a fandom that loved it a little too much, and it just kind of became less cool.
Careful, Brad. Robin is one of those people that loves Mass Effect maybe a little too much.
She's about to bust in the door.
She
celebrates N7 Day.
She is about
I'm
as
not
excited.
saying Mass Effect got
She's
bad.
about as
I'm just
excited
saying
for the-
it became less cool.
Let me tell you this: she is about as excited for this remastered version of the Mass Effect trilogy as I am for the new season of Dexter. Just think about that for a second.
That's substantial.
But to be fair, I am also eager to replay the trilogy because I just haven't played it in a while, and I don't know. I don't remember.
There was a
hating it.
time
I just remember feeling
there was a time that one of those N7 jackets seemed like the coolest thing in the world. Now I wouldn't.
maybe not so much
Dude,
anymore.
do you remember? Wasn't there like fucking like a Mass Effect armor in like Dragon Age or some shit?
And vice
Yeah.
versa.
In Dragon Age 3?
there was Mass Effect armor in Dead Space.
2.
There was Dragon Age armor in Mass Effect, yeah.
All right, let's move on. Yes, we all agree. It's still negative. Next question from Mr. Scorpion from West Virginia. After the recent demo showcasing, it got me thinking. Can you try and describe what makes a perfect demo for you? To elaborate further, what can a demo specifically do for you personally that no trailer can really showcase, that gets you the most invested and most enthused for that game or a new entry in the series? What's up, man?
Let you continue your progress. Loop Hero did it recently.
That's a good one.
I bought Loop Hero, started up, and it just let me keep playing.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to get excited about playing a demo when you know you're going to lose any progress you make, especially if it's like a beefy demo where it's like you can play it for like an hour. It's like, why do I want to invest an hour if I know I'm going to have to reinvest that hour later? So you're right. That's absolutely true.
Demos that let you break them and play way more than you're supposed to, like the Just Cause 2 demo, or remember that Yakuza demo that was like the whole game? People figured out how to make it the whole game or something.
I don't remember that. So I would say in regards to specifically like a trailer can't do, it's definitely the feel for the game. There's a lot of times that it's hard to show, like, especially like a cinematic trailer, to really understand the core mechanics and stuff like that. The maybe even the loop, if a game has one of those, that I think a trailer a demo can do a really good job of. But I think Brad has a good point that letting you continue your progress, especially if it's like a linear thing, or if it's like like almost like a Metroidvania style thing. If you're kind of done a lot of exploration, if it's roguelite, it's less important. But I think that's a good example.
I would say
obviously I feel like there's not like an umbrella type answer to this question, because obviously there's so many different kinds of games. Like one kind of demo may not work. Also, you want to showcase different things for different styles of game. But
the two things I would mention would be, kind of end on a high note, show off an early boss, and just give me an idea of like what the greater scope of the game is than just give me just like a beginner level.
Right.
Also, you show off a beginning boss if bosses are something that you pride your game on.
I think you could also argue that
Souls game should.
Yeah, I would say
a Souls game should end with a boss fight.
Yeah, you could say like, giving you like a late game weapon in the demo to almost like kind of entice you to be like, this is something you can look forward to. But once you obviously play the game, you don't have access to it. But it gives you that drive because you got a taste of it. It's like one of those things where when the demo gives you a real feel for what to expect in the game.
Here's another thing, and I think this is incredibly rare, but I feel like it's happened before. I can't remember the exact example, but it's kind of the antithesis of what Brad said, in that instead of letting you carry your progress, make a demo that demonstrates like the loop of the game, but like isn't an actual part of the game. You know what I mean? Like make it something completely that stands on its own. This is not going to be in the.
Remember
the
that Dead Rising demo, Dead Rising 2 demo.
Yeah, that was a.
What was the one you're in the outside town before you made it into
Case
the city
Zero?
Or whatever?
Yes, there we go.
I mean, it was a demo, but it wasn't free. It was an actual product.
I think honestly, this is obviously not the best example, because I think the demo for the demo we've gotten so far for Resident Evil Village was not intended to demonstrate mechanics as much as just atmosphere and like visuals and stuff. But the kitchen is the same thing.
Yeah, that there is actually a good example to work with. Like continuously updated demos, like what they did for the 7 demo was really cool, and it kept people coming back and back and back and trying to solve puzzles and uncover like this ARG that was going on. I think 7's was really well done.
Monster Hunter Rise has been adding new monsters.
Magna Malo comes out tomorrow. Yeah, they added a new. In fact,
there used to only be like 2 or 3 hunts, and now they're like adding
like
new
the
monsters.
cover monster.
Man. Boner Killer just mentioned PT, and I got sad again. That was a good demo.
That was a confusing demo that set the internet on fire. All right, let's move on.
My loins.
Next question from Negative Cosine. What are your thoughts on slow and heavy mechs in games versus high-speed mech games?
Love them both.
They both suck.
All mechs are wonderful. What the hell is wrong with you, Nick?
I'm just teasing. I don't think they both suck.
I prefer
like
so
high
slow.
speed, like anime style mechs.
Yeah.
Like
I
prefer so slow that it's on a turn-based grid. Like from
here's the thing: the only like mech game that I've ever let myself like kind of fall in love with has been Zone of the Enders. So I tend to gravitate towards fast-paced mechs, I guess. I'm kind of looking forward to playing 13 Sentinels, but I don't know if that necessarily has anything to do with the mech component of it. So I don't know.
I think in either case, it's important that it not just feel like a third person shooter or something, or like like it should feel heavy.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's a quick anime mech, like when it stops moving or it lands, like that should feel like
that's what I was gonna say,
robot.
Krispy. Is I think giving you the feel for what it is. You know, if it's a mech that's like 15 feet tall, like it's probably going to be pretty quick. But if it's like a fucking 50-foot tall mech, there's no way it's moving, fucking lightning fast. It's a big fucking robot. It's got to like feel that heft to it, but then it feels good in like when you fucking land like a punch or something like that or whatever. You do like a rocket jump or some shit. Like it feels solid and big and beefy. That can feel good.
Like what's the big mech game of this past decade? I guess that like. Because when I think of mechs, I still go to my brain immediately jumps to Zone of the Enders. What was the big?
Well, I mean, there really hasn't been that much, but
I mean, BattleTech was big, but that was a fucking strategy RPG.
Yeah, that was a turn.
I mean, Mech Warrior came back, right?
But BattleTech was really fucking good though, and I will praise Mech Warrior 5 all day long. It is really good.
You want to know what it was? It was Into the Breach.
The Breach.
That game sucked. I'm just kidding.
But I mean,
I'm just kidding.
I mean, just because Into the Breach had mechs, it didn't really portray that kind of weight and feel and power.
Yeah,
it was a puzzle game. To be, let's all be clear about that.
No, it was a tech. I mean,
all right, moving on. Let's
it
get
captured the
final
whole Save
question.
the City thing.
Final
more than
question
whatever Godzilla
for the
game
evening from the Drunken Merchant. Since hot dog bets began, how many hot dogs do you think you all owe one another?
Dude, I've never seen one of these motherfuckers eat a hot dog.
It happened back in the day. It was more common.
Since I've been here, you guys have not eaten hot dogs.
Okay, first of all,
Krispy, I can name a day where we ate hot dogs together. So
it's that Chai is taking us to two hot dog places.
Is it a fucking VR joke? Fuck you.
No, it's the fucking. It was September 17th, 2016. We went to Frank together.
How do you know that?
Oh, it was the fucking day I got married.
It was the day of his wedding.
Cause what?
When I got married.
The day he got married.
Oh,
the whole
we went for that.
Yes, you were the whole fucking groom's party or whatever. We all went to Frank.
Okay.
And we all ate hot dogs.
Have all eaten hot dogs in the same room together. Sure, but I'm talking about like the hot dog bet hot dogs.
That has not happened in a long time.
Yeah, like the bet hot dogs that you have to eat or that you get to eat. I don't even know how hot dog bets work.
Let's be honest.
I thought it was a euphemism. I've been sucking a lot of dicks, guys. Are you telling me I was supposed to just eat hot dogs?
You're supposed to put the dick in a bun first, but yes.
Sorry.
Oh, Brad.
I got nothing. I don't. The hot dog bet was always like the fun of the hot dog bet is that nobody keeps track of it.
Well, there's one community member that does it. Yeah,
I'll buy you a pack of bar-ass hot dogs.
Ed has a spreadsheet somewhere.
Yeah. There was back in the day when Brad and back at the original podcast location down the street from Brad, you and David's apartment was that hot dog stand, and I think that might have been where it started. That Chicago style hot dog stand that David got obsessed with for a while.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I don't remember where it started, but it almost certainly started with Brad saying to someone, "I will bet you a hot dog." That's something.
And everyone was like, okay, nobody said, what the fuck are you talking about?
I don't know what the reactions were at that time, but I'm almost certain the words first were muttered by Brad.
All of those lunchtime and dinner time podcasts that we recorded, none of them were at a hot dog restaurant.
Never. I mean, because
not many of those exist.
Hot dog restaurants. Yeah.
I mean, there's not many, but there's some in Austin that we could have gone to.
There are quite a number of respected sausage houses around here.
I still love the place we always go to in LA where I have the rattlesnake sausage.
You love that place. You love talking about that place.
Yeah. Wait, what?
You don't love that place. You love bringing up that place.
Yeah.
No, I love that place.
This place in LA I go to all the time.
No.
All right, that's all the questions.
I haven't been there in 2 years.
Oh, it's my favorite sausage joint in LA.
It's my favorite sausage joint ever because we don't really have those here.
LA. What are you talking about, Nick? You're crazy. There's fucking Bangers. There's Doghouse. There's like 3 Doghouses. Yeah. There's fucking Worst Dog.
Koosh?
Or worst something. Koosh? Worst Koosh. There's like sausages are like a thing now.
Yeah. Gotta love that sausage.
Sorry. Continue.
Sausage. That's all the questions we have this week, guys. Thank you for submitting. Again, if you want to submit a question for a future show, if you need to support us on Patreon or Twitch as a subscriber, either way, you should have access to the supporters channel in Discord. Find the pinned message in that channel to find the link to the form. You can submit a question whenever you want. We are going through them. We're catching up, but we're jumping around. We're not just going directly in order, so we're bouncing around. Some older questions, some newer questions. So we will get to your question eventually. So if you have a question for us for a future show, do that whenever you think of it. Unless y'all have any, I know we didn't really. This has been a very impressions heavy show. I didn't think there wasn't really a lot of. There weren't any news topics on the dock, but if there's anything you want to bring up
as long as Nolan rants about Pokemon in his 4-player minute, I'll be fine.
I can. I don't know.
All right, let's get to it. Let's wrap up with the 4-player minute. Hype, sweat, fuck you, and thank you. You know how it works. Brad?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Ready?
Yeah. My fuck you goes to Final Fantasy XIV. Because I found out that at level 70, there is a quest you can do to get a Rathalos mount. And this thing looks incredible. It plays the Monster Hunter theme when you're flying around. And apparently, it has a very, very low drop rate. No one in our community has gotten one. But I will make it my quest to get this fucking thing. Another motivation of why I'm playing this goddamn thing, because it's the coolest shit I've ever seen. Also, fuck you, Square Enix.
Dude,
stop
have
turning Final Fantasy VII into Kingdom Hearts. Fire Nomura. Hire back Matsuno. He brought a dignity to Square Enix, you know? What the fuck, dude? Get rid of Nomura. My God. My hype for this week goes to all things Monster Hunter. There was a 3 days of a Monster Hunter event this week. Not only does Monster Hunter Rise continue to look great, you can craft decorations again. They're not all just RNG drops, but Stories 2. They showed another trailer for Stories 2, and it looks real nice. If you want a nice, friendly Pokemon-y style entry into Monster Hunter, it looks less like a baby game than the last one. The art style, I mean. My sweat goes to, I think Krispy brought it up. There's some people who are not so positive, Subnautica superfans who are not so positive on Subnautica, what's Below it called?
Zero.
Before Crisis.
Really?
Below Zero.
Below Zero.
Yeah.
How did we get this?
I didn't know about this.
It's been in early access forever. How am I just now hearing that it's not?
I also just recently heard about it. It's not like everyone. It's still got pretty good reviews, but apparently they rewrote the story like 3 different times, and I have no idea what the fuck they're doing, and that's supposed to be a mess, and it's not as deep and stuff as Subnautica. It's more like wide and spread out, and you spend a lot of time on land, which were the worst parts of Subnautica. Let's be clear. So I don't know. I'm a little worried. I'm still excited, but you know, there was something poetic about the fact that like a week apart, a new Monster Hunter game and a new Subnautica game were coming out when that was my 1 and 2 game. World and Subnautica were my 1 and 2 games of the year they came out, and I was like, oh wow, I'm doing it again. And then I found out that maybe this new one's not that great, and I'm like kind of worried about it. And my thank you, of course, goes to the 4-player Final Fantasy XIV community. I've been struggling. I've been ranting. I've been acidic in my hate. But you know what? It doesn't matter who it is in our community. They've been helpful. They've come out with open arms saying, look, we'll help you do a quest. You tell us what you need. Hop in my flying car. I'll fly you to your next quest. The Final Fantasy XIV community is loving and accepting, and I think it's one of the reasons why I'm going to keep playing this game. Cool. What did Krispy say? Yeah, that's all.
I said, and kind of fucking pervy.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I did notice in the footage when you were wandering around the...
There's a weird guy in Lim Solo Mensa who just dances in his underwear all day, but if you ask him for $1, he'll give it to you.
And that's all that matters. Nolan, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm doing a little weird combination, but my sweat this week actually is for Monster Hunter Rise. I've been, playing a lot of Valheim. Obviously, that's a game that takes up a decent amount of time. I'm still playing Warzone quite often. Still enjoying that game. But Monster Hunter is obviously going to be a huge chunk of time once it comes out to be devoting to. But my
as long as we all get it right, except Chris Davis,
we'll see. I mean, yeah, I'm probably gonna get it. Right. I'm gonna get it. My thank you is gonna go to Bernadette for playing Mario 3D World with me, and also Bowser's Fury. Even though she dies a lot, it's still fun to play with someone else. We just did that trick in the first world where you jump on a shell a bunch of times and get 1,100 lives, and then it became no problem. I think we ended with quite a bit less though. But anyway, she's already asleep because she's doing vaccinations tomorrow, and she's got to get up at like 6 a.m. to go do those. So my other sweat is going to go to Pokemon Legends Arceus. I haven't played a Pokemon game in a long ass fucking time because they're bullshit. This one, in theory, is kind of supposed to be what I've always wanted a Pokemon game to be, and that worries me. My assumption is it's just the footage they show was super early because it fucking looked like butt. It was very framey, but I know it's not supposed to come out till next year. So hopefully in that time, either a Switch Pro or Switch 2 or whatever will come out that maybe has a little more power. It can empower it because it looks like it's going to be beefy, but it's kind of always the style of Pokemon I've wanted. The problem now would be I have no fucking idea what half the Pokemon are now. I literally don't know what they are. I don't know what their types are. Back in the day, it was like, oh, I'm fighting an Onix, I'll throw out a water type. Or like, oh, I'm fighting, a Taurus, that's a normal type, whatever. I knew what to do. But now the problem is if I fucking play it, I have no idea what the fuck that Pokemon is.
Did you see that Diamond and Pearl remake? It looks embarrassing.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah. So then my fuck you this week is actually going to go to AT&T. About 3 years ago, they came out with I don't know if it was before AT&T owned DirecTV or whatever, but they had like DirecTV Now, and it was essentially like internet TV for $30 a month. And I was like, sweet, $30 a month, that's not bad, and I can pay $5 extra for HBO. So for a while I was paying $35 a month for TV and HBO. Pretty sweet compared to fucking cable prices of like $100. But then they were like, hey, we got to up our prices a little bit, so now it's going to be $40. And I was like, it's still pretty good. And then they're like, hey, by the way, we're upping our prices again. Now it's $45. And then it was $50. And then they emailed me last week or the week before, and they're like, by the way, I know you're paying $50, $55 with HBO right now. We're upping it to $90. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? From 55,
they backdoored you.
Yeah, and so I'm definitely canceling that
it's
because
inflation.
Fuck them.
Isn't Amazon Prime like $8,000 a year now?
I don't even know.
It's like 100, 110.
Yeah. But yeah, I finally that was the upgrade, the update in price that finally got me to say fuck you, I'm done. I'll figure it out.
We've been pure streaming services here for so long. Like we haven't had actual cable. We just
that's what it is, Nick. It's streaming. I mean, it's internet cable. That's all it is. It's just at any point in time. I mean, the nice thing is I could pull up it on my phone, and it doesn't use any of my data. It's just I get to stream TV from my phone. I can throw it up on the TV or whatever. That was the nice thing about it.
They're like actual channels, right? Like ESPN and
sure, yeah. Just like, it was nice to be able to watch those. The thing is, like, we would watch like sports and stuff like that, whatever. But sports is all fucking weird now, and I don't know, whatever. Like, we're finally going to cancel it, and I'm basically going to be all streaming going forward.
Gotcha. All right, Krispy.
Well, my hype this week is for Monster Hunter as well. But actually, like, I am really excited to play Rise. I'm going to get it when it comes out. I'm going to play with you guys. But I've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter World lately with some friends. And we've been getting really hard into, like, the Iceborne content. And I think I'm going to stick with this for a while. I think I'm gonna stick with Iceborne for a while. Because
did you get to the guiding lands? What are you doing right now in the game?
I'm about to go to the guiding lands. To like the real like end game. I'm on the last story quest for Iceborne. So I'm about to go to the. Also, I've been playing Gunlance a lot lately, and that weapon is fucking amazing.
You should see it in Rise. It's nuts.
I was just watching a video of it.
You can fly.
I know! It looks great!
So are you hereby denying Brad a Rise partner at launch?
No. I'm going to play Rise. I'm just not going to play it that much, is all I'm saying. You know? I'm not going to...
Once you get used to that wire
I'm going to play with you guys, but...
Go back.
Well,
I feel like Krispy and I will be playing at the same pace.
But the thing is that like my friends who are like really into Monster Hunter right now, who I'm playing with, some of them don't have Switches, so it's just not an option until for at least a year.
Hey, I mean, it's eventually coming to PC as well. We didn't mention.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Anything, but... Like my roommate is real big into it. He has a PlayStation 4. That's it. That's all he has. So it's like maybe in a year. He'll have a PC and we can play Rise in earnest.
I'm not too worried about it as long as you give it a shot. I'm going to play Monster Hunter, like Nolan played Valheim, by the time y'all... I mean, I'll be in a different, universe, but I can do some low rank hunts with you.
I'm not going to not play it, but my hype is more just for Monster Hunter in general. Like, it's really great. I'm really loving it. My sweat is for... So, a couple weeks ago, I was having another one of my, like, periods where I wanted to play something and couldn't find anything to play. And I was just, like, sitting up late at night thinking about, like, what's a cool game I could start? And I was looking through Steam, and I was looking at Satisfactory. And I was like, you know what? This looks interesting. I'm going to give it a try. So I started playing Satisfactory. I played it for, like, a week or so. And that's a really cool game, but I definitely I hit a point with it pretty early on where it's like, oh my god, it's just like I just gotta like build my factories and then rebuild them to make them neater so that I can fit more conveyor belts in, and like I had like a crisis moment of like I can't do it, and I closed the program. And that's actually right around the time I started playing Final Fantasy XIV again. But I feel bad because I don't know if I'm ever going to go back to that game, and I haven't had an opportunity to talk about it on the podcast, but it is actually really cool. Like, there's a lot of really cool stuff going on in that game, especially if you like the more, like, crafting and base building aspects of something like Valheim, because that's all that game is. It's just, like, building a giant factory.
I almost bought that last week.
There's something to be said about standing in a 3D, like, first-person world and, like, building a structure that is literally, like, miles high, and it just, like, appearing. Like, one of the first big milestones you have to hit is to build a space elevator, and that kind of is like the rotation of the game is like you're constantly producing stuff to work on this project that you're sending up the space elevator, right? And like you build these like massive factories, like square kilometers of factory that you can build trains and like vehicles, and you're just like driving around your factory and like you automate everything, and it's fucking crazy. And I just want to be the kind of person who could do that.
Don't worry,
you know what I'm saying?
I'll do it for you.
You know what I'm saying? Is kind of, I guess, what I'm trying.
I mean, Krispy,
you just got me super excited for that game.
You were talking about,
it's crazy.
Looking for a game to play or whatever. There's one I've played like 22 hours of that I have never even talked about on the podcast that I've been playing recently. Yeah. It was Forager. Never ended up bringing that up.
Oh, yeah.
I've never even heard of that.
Dude, I've played a
kind
shit
of Stardew-esque.
Yeah. It's Stardew kind of satisfactory a little bit. You're building like facilities that create stuff so you can build more stuff so you can do that. But yeah,
I'll tell you what, Satisfactory, Nolan, you'd get deep into that.
That's one reason I haven't picked it up, because I know I would. Trust me, I've watched some videos on it.
It's on my wish list, and I'm waiting for it to hit the right price.
I'm pretty sure it's on my wish list.
The problem is the part where my eyes started rolling back in my head and I'm like, I can't do this, is like, you start watching these optimization videos and they're like, okay, this is how you have to set up your production line, because this machine can produce these components. It can produce 30 of them an hour. This machine can only do 25 of them an hour. So the belt that's coming out of this machine has to feed directly into this machine. This belt, you're going to have to build a junction. So like basically you're like splitting the production of one machine in half, and you're just sending half of it on this like roller coaster to like bring it back around to the production, just to like keep plates spinning, you know, to keep like the timing of everything. And it's like really crunchy, but like I can't, like I just start going like anaphylactic shock when I like start thinking about all this stuff. I just can't do it, you know. And
hearing you talk about this game is making me sweat. Like
it's crazy, man.
But
it's
in a
really
good
weird.
way.
It's really weird. It's really fun and really cool. And like I was the kind of guy who's like, I just want to build a cool factory and like drive around it in my little cart, or like build a train and like ride the train, and like that stuff's really fun. But like when you start getting into optimization of production, it's like
when suddenly I'm watching YouTube videos for hours on end, taking notes, it's like, oh god.
Yeah,
speaking of notes, man, y'all need to try Loop Hero. I've been playing the final release, and it is so good.
Yeah, I know.
Good.
I don't know. My fuck you for this week goes to some dude I was in a raid with earlier today, where like I was playing Black Mage and I was doing my rotation, and I stopped paying attention and I ran out of mana, and it took me a while to get my rotation going back on, and this guy just started talking to me like I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. He's like, Black Mage, this your first time? You're out of mana. You should be in ice phase right now. And I'm like, fuck you, dude. You don't pay my sub. Like, so fuck that guy. He was just trying to be helpful, but like in the moment I was like, fuck you. Like, and my thank you for the week goes to I guess everybody who helped me get to Heaven's Word, because now that I'm there, it does kind of feel like, oh wow. Wow. Ooh. Look at this place. I'm like, I know all these characters' names now, and there's a story that I care about, and like stuff's happening, and my character looks kind of cool, and like, yeah. But we don't have to get too deep into that.
Very nice.
I wanted to say one thing. Like you were talking about, like a dude being an asshole. Obviously, playing like
he wasn't. I took it wrong.
That's fine.
But
like obviously, playing Call of Duty online, you run into like lots of fucking assholes, but also lots of nice people. And so, like, I don't know when it started, but there's a thing, at least in Warzone, that when you kill someone, like you hear their mic for a couple of seconds, so they can say shit to you. Either like people call me bad words a lot. They call me lots of things. Usually when people kill me, I'll say stuff like, that wasn't very nice. I try to bring it back down to being nice. But like one of the most frustrating things, and it happens all the time, is like I'll be in an intense firefight and, you know, I'm out of armor and I'm low on health, and I'll kind of run somewhere to hide in like a cubby, and I start putting my plates back on, and then someone jumps in a window, so I shoot them, and they're like, oh, you camping bitch. And I'm like, I've been here for 2 seconds and I'm fucking scared for my life. What do you mean camping? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But it's just so frustrating because like, some people are just fucking assholes. But I also, at the same time, I've run into like a lot of really super nice people playing Call of Duty. But anyway,
sure,
that just reminded me.
Normal people. That's it for me.
Chris Davis.
Okay. My first hype this week is for Doom Eternal: The Ancient Gods Part 2. There's a trailer that's going to be released next week for it. And because of legal obligations that Bethesda has to, and they're obligated in several countries to abide by, they're probably going to have to release that content this month. So that means I get to play both parts because I skipped out in the first part waiting for the second. Dude.
So you're going to play them back to back?
Oh, yes. Hell yes. I am really looking forward to that. My second hype / kind of a thank you is for the first game I have played since finishing the Game of the Year content, which is Hitman 3. I've played that through to completion. I've put about 40 hours into it now. God, that is a really good game. Like, I love almost every aspect of it. What I really, really liked about it, and I really kind of wanted to do mention of this during impressions, but the fact that several of the levels start out like with a full story focus instead of like just to go into a map and kill a bunch of dudes as a traditional Hitman level is, that felt so well done this time around. Like the way they did Apex Predator, the third mission in the game, like that was like a mystery to explore.
It was a cool idea for a mission for sure. Yeah.
I really liked it. But yeah, that was a pretty good conclusion to Hitman for a good while. So
I think the sad thing is that my Hitman moment is past. I have all 3 games. I have all 3 games sitting over there, and I have no desire to play them now.
Nick, I think it's one of those scenarios where it's like the reason you don't have a desire to play is because your mind's distracted by other things. But I guarantee you, if you fucking, Saturday morning, brew up a pot of coffee and sit down and start playing it, you probably won't.
He brings up a good fucking point. I finished 4 stages. The reason I have not finished this game is because Hitman is a game that's impossible to play like when you're tired, like late at night, and I am always tired.
Just so you know,
so it's so rare I find the time to play Hitman.
The last time I played Hitman was exactly the situation Nolan just described. It was a Saturday morning. I brewed a pot of coffee, which we do every single morning. Like our entire day, Saturday, Sunday mornings are brew coffee and play games until about 11 o'clock. So like that was the last time I played Hitman. And don't worry, I think that moment will come back around.
Well, then you're
and I'll
just
get the urge again.
Nick.
But right now, I think the moment is past. Like I'm playing Black Mesa right now because I had a moment where it's like I want to play something new instead of diving back into something I'm already playing, and I could have started playing Hitman 3, and I was like, nope, the desire isn't there.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
My third hype is for a game that was announced this week. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge.
Yes.
It's being published by Dotemu, done by Tribute Games, I believe. They're the ones that did Mercenary Kings a while back, which was kind of a fan take on Metal Slug. But
didn't they also do the harpoon roguelike thing, the grappling hook one?
Hook. A Flint Hook.
Flint Hook.
Yeah,
Flint Hook. Yeah. Well, they got this license, and it looks like a big ass throwback tribute to Turtles in Time and the Turtles 2 arcade game, and
which even I have nostalgia for.
It looks so good, guys.
It looks pretty cool. I will say the music in that trailer, they missed on that one. I think it sounded kind of like a song from Turtles in Time, but like a bad take on it. I don't know. We'll see. You do throw people at the screen, foot soldiers at the screen, so that's a good thing.
More than likely, it's going to be.
I would assume so. Yeah.
I like how all the turtles had like different run animations and everything. Like, they look cool.
And they're probably going to throw in like they were showing off a lot of Splinter in April in the trailer, so I assume they're actually going to be playable too. So, but yeah, that game looks fucking great. I can't wait to play it. And my sweat this week is for the other game that I've been playing. You guys have been enjoying Valheim, but I decided to try a different survival game, and I decided to start playing Rust, aka Minecraft for assholes.
That is not where I thought this was going.
But I didn't want to play with anybody because there is no PvE only mode. There is no playing alone. So I decided to download the software to do a dedicated server on my computer, and I've been running a.
You're just playing by yourself?
World. Yeah, playing by myself.
You've been playing Rust by yourself. The whole point of Rust is to like fuck with people, though.
Yeah, but it's a big part of it. Yes.
Yeah,
to force them to eat poison and stuff and
fight for their lives. Yeah, no, I've seen.
Take your pants off.
Yeah, it's shit like that. It's like when they go to sleep, you build a fortress around them that they can't get out of.
Dude, I remember.
So when they log back into the game, they're just stuck.
I remember when Rust like first was a big thing, and Sean Elliott. Very different people. Yeah, Sean Elliott had like a big thing where him and his friends would play, and yeah, they would do that shit where they would just have like a fucking like massacre, and like everyone would be naked with torches, and they would make people like force people to fight each other and shit in like giant arenas, and like release the bear, like there's like crazy shit. Like,
yeah,
Rust
I
is
played.
a crazy game.
What are you doing though? Why aren't you playing Valheim with the rest of us? What are you doing?
Well, hang on. So
the rest of us.
The reason why I'm playing Rust is that, I remember playing it 5 years ago with the community, and just wanted to see what that game was. But that game has since come out of early access, and it's been continuously updated. And what got me interested was the fact that this month's update was a brand new underground like subway transit system that goes throughout the entire map. And it's deep Metro. Underground with like a bunch of in-game content and stuff. So I want to know what that was.
Chris Davis really has a hard-on for underground
Metro
railroad
Brad,
stations.
I can answer your question as to why he's playing Rust and not Valheim. That's because Valheim doesn't have guns in it, Brad.
I mean, not yet.
That's true.
Just wait until you can build one.
Monster Hunter does.
Out of wood.
Yeah.
True. That's true.
But I've been having fun. I've put about 20 hours into it so far. I might open up the server to the community if they're interested.
Ooh, rest in peace.
I mean, there might be.
Do this at your own peril.
I mean, that's
why it might be worth it just to go in and terrorize him and destroy all the stuff, because while that's somewhat mean-spirited in Valheim, that is the point of Rust.
No, I'm building up my base in my house right now.
He's going to make a giant fortress and then let people in.
Yes, exactly that. That's the scenario.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah, so...
All right, is it my turn?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. My sweat this week is going to be. I feel like it's been a slow start to the year as far as game releases go, and I think it's because this is the year we're probably going to feel the effects of the pandemic the most in terms of just a lot of games are taking longer to develop because of everything, and I feel like this year we might see fewer releases than the past few years. So that kind of sucks. I don't really have a ton new stuff that I'm like super excited. I think the next one I'm like super excited for is Resident Evil Village. But my hype is going to be there's 2 horror games coming out this weekend, and I'm going to try both of them. The first one being Lust from Beyond, which I played for the demo week that we did. And then the other one is Ed brought to my attention, so thank you, Ed. I had forgotten about it. I saw a trailer for it a while back and completely forgot about it. It's called Mundaun. Mundaun? I don't. Mundaun. But it's like a hand drawn, like pencil drawn horror game that reminds me of Midsummer. Like takes place in the out in the sunshine and there's goats,
I remember watching
and,
a trailer of this ages ago.
It looks cool, and it immediately makes me think of Midsummer, which I think just has a really cool vibe for a horror. Was a really cool vibe for a horror movie. So very much looking forward to playing that. My thank you this week goes to Chris Davis for writing and directing and developing 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, which I now have in my possession. It was on sale at GameStop for $40, so I snagged a copy because it's been hard to find that for under $60. In fact, it's been going for over $60 for a while on most retail sites. So got a copy of that. It's in my possession. I don't know when I'm going to start it, but I'm just kind of waiting for the opportunity to present itself. I've been playing.
To be honest, I expected it to be as number 1, and it wasn't. Not even sure it was number 2.
Spoiler alert. But
Y'all should go watch my video, by the way.
I am looking forward to playing it. Also, thank you, Chris Davis, for recommending Black Mesa. It's pretty good. But like Krispy said, you don't get credit for that because Half-Life is good.
He doesn't get credit for any of this.
I look forward to you playing my next recommended game in 2 years. Like, what if I started playing Tales from the Borderlands now?
Nope.
In about 3 years, you'll want to play it.
Nope. That's not how that works.
Okay, I'll start on that.
The moment for Tales from the Borderlands has passed.
We got to get to Robin. That's the only way. We got to get to Robin.
Right. Good luck. Do you have any idea how weird? I hope you didn't hear this. How weird. So Robin's like gaming habits are just so unpredictable. Like she spends a lot of time playing games. Not nearly as much time as I do, but 60 to 70% of her time playing games is spent replaying Dead Space or Mass Effect.
That's all you do, right?
What?
Okay. No.
Nick also that's why you guys are a thing.
Hey, Superman Lois is really good, by the way.
I'm sure she does too.
What?
I said I'm sure she rewatches Smallville with you.
She does not. But we are in season 9. She is officially watching Supernatural with me, and we are on season 9.
So what did you choose to do when you?
All right, we're officially longer than segment 1.
Sorry. We'll talk about this after the show. Anyways, guys, that's it for our show. Thank you so much for listening. 4playernetwork.com is, of course, the website. We stream on Twitch. We're in Discord. I think it's the most important thing. Check us out in Discord. Discord.gg/4player. And we'll be back next week to talk about more video games. Take care of yourself. Woo! Oh, I forgot. I had a fuck you. My fuck you goes to the fucking state
Square
of Texas.
Enix.
The fucking governor of Texas for opening this fucking state right before spring break. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Seriously. Can't stress that enough. Anyways, sorry. Didn't mean to get political at the last possible fucking second, but I forgot to mention that.
Nick, hold on.
What?
Texas already is at fourth the rate of the rest of the country in vaccinations. Why shouldn't we open up? We're at like 7% vaccination, Nick. That's the perfect... That's basically herd immunity. 7%. Basically. I'm being facetious.
I saw 9%. I saw 9% today.
Okay, sorry. We're up to 9.
My goodness.
Yeah.
I cannot say.
Well, at least we got that $15 an hour minimum wage.
Fuck. Oh man.
Well, we're getting $1,400 checks starting this weekend,
folks. Folks. When the opportunity presents itself, go get vaccinated. Sorry. Just gonna put that out there.
Please.
Anyways, also take care of yourself, be kind to others, play video games, join us in Discord. If you want to support us on Patreon, we'd appreciate it. Patreon.com/4player, and of course you can find all of our podcasts at 4playernetwork.com. Good night. We'll see you next week.